Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Dope Conversations. This is episode 3 of experimental, whatever we're doing. Today we've officially got 2 ghost people, I think is what they call people in the background, echoes in the distance. Ursula Mariani and Asbo. Asbo, what's your surname?
Ofori-Amanfo.
Wow.
Nango munyu shidima. Sorry, what's that?
Ofori-Amanfo.
Pan-Africanism once.
How
It's not a safe space.
Ursula,
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Love it.
oh, we're being infiltrated.
Say infiltrate.
Asbo, when are you from?
Ghana.
Yo, Penson? Oh, you're safe.
Yeah, I'm safe. I know what this is.
that mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Lebo?
I should have asked him a comment.
No comment.
Yeah.
Ha.
Keep it neutral, keep it
No
safe.
comment.
Like say, South African women are going to
online-
murder us, most.
No, but online they say I look foreign, so I guess I'm foreign.
No, but
I don't even know what
where's,
foreign
see it.
means.
where's home?
Yeah?
Yeah, but Ursula and Asba also want to say home is here.
Yeah, home is here.
Shidima also said home is here.
Because home is here.
This is home.
Where are your parents from?
They from here.
Your mom?
From here.
Have you seen her ID? Sorry. Shout out to Sizwe Dube at the back, Tebogo Keebine and Gomotso Morobe as well. And I'd like to welcome our co-host for today, Lebo Lion.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to Dope Conversations. So this is an informal sit down. I've got some.
You're
Come on,
This is why foreigners are coming to the country. This type of energy and attitude. Did you see how nice and pleasant other people were?
No, they got introduced. Of course, they'd be
The
nice.
foreigners were also nice and pleasant,
Like,
I want to say.
oh, labala.
No, well, Ursula and I.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you guys are the foreigners.
Well, clearly.
Big shout out to the Conversation Capital, which is Ursula Mariani's platform. I want to give a shout out to Asbo, who's currently managing Ursula. She does Booked by Bo.
Oh.
So if you're looking for talent management, influencer management, I'll drop her details in the description below. Please try her out. Maybe we can start with you, Lebo, with the work you've been doing so far this year, how your channel's going, etc., etc.
Lord have mercy.
Is that me? I'm the Lord.
No.
I'll have mercy.
How do you even go there? It's like I'm at 1, you go to 100.
It's Women's Month. We have to start with you and then Soyagu Mubiza.
Oh, okay. No, I think things have been good for me because I've been re-strategizing. So I'm doing things very differently to how I used to do them.
This
And I'm
year.
happy this year.
Okay.
Year, yeah, because also I'm not necessarily a podcaster. I'm a thought leader strategist who uses a podcast to get her to share her ideas. Nothing wrong with being a podcaster. I started off as a podcaster, but I mean other people have done way better than me over the years, you know. So I don't think owning that label of podcaster would be the best thing to do if I were to lead with my ego to show that I actually am still doing very well using my podcast. It's just I wouldn't call myself a podcaster the way that you guys are.
Oh, so you started off where we were.
No,
and now you're a thought leader.
No. I started off. I mean, you know this.
I don't know
fired,
anything.
Guys. I've got DMs from Pennyworth.
I know. You got
Bring
all.
him out, bring him out.
on Twitter. I've got files.
I think we must cut and start from the top.
Be very careful of the comments that
Okay.
these people.
I do have the files.
We can only protect you so much, my dear.
I've got the DMs.
I started off as a podcaster. Now I've re-strategized. and now I'm a thought
but
leader.
Everything I did was about being a marketing thought leader.
Sure.
So when I started my podcast, it was
really
about how do I teach entrepreneurs marketing. It wasn't about me being a podcaster. So my marketing career has grown, but my podcast, it's gone through seasons. I've had really great times, and then I've had times where it was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know if I want to use YouTube. I don't know if the Spotify things work. I don't even know if I want to be a podcaster. But funnily enough, brands still come to me. Companies still come to me. They want me to record.
So
That
tough is your
the
life.
only reason why I have a podcast. To be honest with you, it is the only reason why.
So you're like a multidisciplinary.
No, I'm a strategist who also has a podcast. You know what I
Guys,
mean? I'm
what's
an
a podcast?
entrepreneur who has a podcast.
What categorizes something as a podcast? Like
That's a good question.
Yeah, I find it really difficult nowadays because it sounds like you've got a platform that shares information.
I do.
And you know, like, what's a podcast?
I agree with you. Because for me, podcasting was audio. It was always audio. That's when I was dominating. That's when I was happy to do it. With the video element, I don't really enjoy it that much. I find that it's so performative that I can't fully be myself the way I can when it's just audio. So I'm more of an audio person than a video person, but we're all different. The world has moved to video.
I understand.
And then
that.
other podcasts being big on YouTube, people think, okay, that is podcasting. To me, it is not. And the way I even get clients from my podcast is usually the audio snippets, not from video per se, where I get the real, like, proper strategic consulting, good money. It comes from audio because they're just there to listen to what I have to say. So because I'm more of like a brain who wants to share information and connect with people that way, the performance of video doesn't really
and it's
appeal
true
to
what
me.
you're saying. I mean, if you just compare radio and television, on radio it matters what you say.
Exactly.
Whereas on television it's makeup, it's the outfit. There's so much that goes into the performance of it. And you'll find that it's quite a serious show. It's like a morning news show. But like there's makeup artists, there's why if we're delivering the news. So that's a really...
And people are prejudiced as well. I find that in South Africa, people see me as a foreigner, funnily enough. Like South Africans think I'm a foreigner. And that makes them kind of put off to engaging with me when they see me on camera.
Sure.
But when they're hearing my voice, they don't know what I look like. So they're more open to the ideas that I'm sharing.
That really sucks.
Interesting.
It's weird, right? Like
does.
People get
I'm a
put
South
off when they
African.
see you.
They get put off because they think I'm a foreigner. So they're like, why is she smart? And then she's speaking like this. And she doesn't look South African. She's not South African. We don't like her.
Do you take offense to that?
No, I don't. I know my heritage. I know my lineage. I know my ancestry.
Yeah.
Most of us are not from here. So it's not offensive to me. I don't mind if someone thinks I'm Ghanaian or
Sure.
Congolese or Nigerian. It's not an insult. I'm still a black person.
Do you think it's because you understand the history of your family that you don't take offense? Whereas if you were from somewhere else, maybe.
So I'm a vendor person. I'm vendor. That's why I said.
Oh,
I will
definitely
say-
foreigner then. Oh, they're right. I'm kidding.
No, but like, I think,
so
so it's interesting because when I meet Zulu people, the way they grew up and their experiences are so different to mine, where I know Shangan, Pedi, Venda, that's how I grew up. So we're exposed to people from all over the continent. My whole life, that's what I was used to. Whether we were in the township or the suburbs, I knew Nigerians, I knew Malawians, I knew Congolese. That's what I knew. That's who used to come to my parents' house and my grandparents' house. And the schools I went to had more black people who are not South African than South Africans. So my first proper, deep, saturated experience of South African black people was in university.
Damn.
So my framing of blackness is not South African. It's just you black,
African.
your heritage, you are a black person,
Sure.
we're African, it doesn't matter. But I understand that here, it's still a deep thing because people were raised differently and they grew up in different environments. Mine wasn't. I didn't know people live like that until I got to varsity.
As a marketing guru, you never think that you have a responsibility to try and change the psychology of black South
Absolutely.
Africans and how they view other black people?
Absolutely. And it's not just about South Africans. I think it's just Africans at large,
Yeah.
right? Which is why I think marketing is so important and people don't understand it. Like, we are the people who create culture. Culture is the way we live. It's the way we do things. It's the reason why we buy what we buy. It's the reason why we like what we like. So if we are responsible for that as marketers, then we should be pro-African, pro so many things that help the black person thrive and succeed.
Yeah.
So some of my content, even though I try to sugarcoat it because I understand how people consume things, I'm all about how are you a conscious consumer, right? Because that's important. A lot of black people are in debt and they're going through a lot of funny things just because they're not conscious consumers.
Sure.
They don't know what they're buying. They don't know how to buy. They don't know how to engage in the commercial world. And that's actually all marketing if you think about it properly. A high level, obviously, but if you can break it down into smaller little bits like I do in my content, I think people are starting to learn that. And it's changing how they're even building their businesses and how they're positioning their businesses. So it's no longer a South African business, it's an African business. Because when you go overseas, they actually don't know the difference
You just
between
lump
South
you
African,
together.
Nigerian, Congolese.
Sure.
You're African. So why not own that? What is brand African? And how do you sell that in the world? Because the world wants what we have to offer. But if we're going to say I'm South African and we're only going to niche it down to that, I think we're limiting the opportunities we have access to.
You were one of the first podcasters, I think, that was popular in this country. Yourself and I
Yes.
think Mash.
Yeah.
And then later on, Gwafiko Podcast and Chill, which wasn't
Exactly.
podcasting, it was more
It was
vodcasting.
vlogcasting. I think my G was the first vlogcaster in South Africa for me.
Sure.
I'd put it out there. But I think me and Mash were the first podcasters.
Yeah.
That's why I was on the charts. I was the first black African woman on the charts
Yeah.
because they were doing it. And the way I got into it was from this guy who's in finance and he used to be a news reporter on ENCA. Then he moved to the States, a black guy, I forgot his name. And he said to me, no, get into podcasting. You're good. I see you at these business things. You're always talking. You're a young girl. You've done so much. Do it. And I eventually just did it. But we were the first. So we were there pioneering it. And people were like, what are you guys doing? This thing doesn't work. This is stupid. For many years. And then I got tired. And then people started getting popular in podcasting. They became vlogcasting. And I was just like, oh, this is too much for me. But I'm doing it still. Brands want it.
Sure.
I make money from it. I'm building brand from podcasting. Botswana, I'm only going there now because of my podcasts. Because the
That's
girlies
dope.
love the podcast so much, I'm going.
That's dope.
Even though I don't have the numbers that you would think a person needs to be getting those kinds of opportunities. But because I lean into thought leadership before podcasting, people will invite me because they think I have value anyway.
Sure. Your
That's the
3
difference.
top episodes on your channel. Lebo Lion SA.
Yeah.
Your 3 top episodes, just off top of your head.
I
Like
don't
people
wanna
to go and
say-
check.
Why?
Okay.
Guys,
actually-
please go check out.
Okay, fine. There's a networking masterclass that I just posted that I did with a financial institution. That one's really good. I've gotten a lot of good feedback from that. The podcast episode I did with Gorgeous and Bali, funnily enough, I don't think it's that deep, but a lot of women have done a lot with the information there.
Sure.
So clearly they feel influenced by it and impacted by it in a positive way. And the last one is with my favorite human being, Kuzo Teledi. That podcast, I think if you want to be in the media space and build a really solid career for yourself,
Yeah,
Kuzo shares everything and she doesn't do media interviews.
sure.
So I think my podcast is the first podcast interview she's ever done.
Kuzo.
Kuzo Teledi, Metro FM.
Who did you sit with, Ursula?
Khopedi.
Oh, different person.
Okay, yeah, no,
Yeah.
different
Oh.
person.
We did our interview, what, 3
Kuzo
years
who?
ago? Teledi.
Teledi and
Khopedi Dilokwe.
Khopedi
Khopedi.
Dilokwe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a dope
Yeah.
sit down.
Yeah.
Very emotional.
Yeah.
Sorry.
on grief.
Because I remember you also said she doesn't really.
No.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we,
so
like,
that's
for
where I
over a
created the
year,
link.
Yes.
We were just like, please, please.
Yeah.
Until eventually she was
Hey, I
like,
haven't been
shit.
ready. Why HLamos? They don't do
Yeah,
interviews.
as I
It's a lot
said,
of
it's
people.
hard
No,
to be in
yeah.
interviews when you're an interviewer. Like, I find this really weird. I prefer to interview people than to be interviewed.
I kind of get it, but I think people must be flexible a bit, especially if someone's like, we'd like to hear your story. You can just talk about what you've done.
But why don't some people don't want to share their
I
story?
understand, and they well within their rights. Okay,
And it's great branding. The
sure.
less people know, the more you can sell when you want to share your story, and that's
There's that
power.
mystery
You can make a
and-
lot of
yeah.
money from that. So, very smart.
Hey, Penson, when are you the opposite of mystery? When are you share alles? That's why it's ngenamali ntwana. You share everything. How's the journey going? How's your channel, the journey?
As ngiyamuzwa lo sisi ukhuluma about ama-podcaster ubakhuluma sengathi bala
No.
and lapho mina
No.
Hey, when I'm seeing you on a podcast, Shama voice note, your voice noter.
voice note
Sir.
Singakuna kushaya kunenye phone disha interference.
A phone?
Singakuna kushaya i-flight mode if possible.
Mine's on flight.
It's
mode.
picking up there.
could be me.
Yeah.
Please put phones on flight mode, but please continue. Sorry, voice noter. One noter, one more voice.
Ngunotha wama voice
Yeah. One tells why podcaster like me, and then
wena
masukulile.
uslick talk wena mina mangunotha wena uslick talk
When I'm not sleep talking like my voice note.
uba
Yo, here with another banger.
Oh my God.
Salmonan. Penson in the journey.
uslick talk washa
I'm a voice note.
slender I'm sure losing weight
Yeah, nyove stomshaya geni ozempik babod. Umsaba phumi headbags.
shawuke ngempama unciphe wena
Shout out to Lizzo, by the way. I saw Lizzo's been losing weight.
oh
Lebo, do you
god
understand?
no well look
Sorry.
shout out to slick talk again because
do you
losing weight
understand
is
Lizzo.
great
Do you
Do you
understand
understand
Wait.
Zulu?
Yes, yes,
Ah, okay.
yes,
Yeah.
Does she understand?
Zulu?
Zulu. No, she has
No,
to.
it's a
No,
good
I
thing.
do. What do you
No,
mean
no,
I
no, it's a
have
good
to?
thing.
No matter how you do it.
No matter good thing we understand. Yazi weze le because baqeda kumshaya uthi hayi ngumjimela lo. No, ngumjimela. Ayi umnyamile shaya pusha. Casper.
Has Slick Talk lost weight?
He's lost a lot of weight.
No,
For people that haven't
he
seen.
talks about health now. He's Mr. You
Yeah,
know, get your
Health
life
and
together,
wellness.
go to the gym.
But I think it was one of the
That's
deals they made,
amazing.
if I'm not mistaken. If people know that
Really?
one of the deals was that if Casper beats him, he won't create his vlogs
Talk shit
for
about
like a
it.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think something like that.
Yeah, there was that thing.
is
Yeah,
it?
that's why he was MIA, but he obviously won't say that.
Okay.
But he mangshaya.
Hey.
Cishe into yakho.
Sorry,
You know,
the
if
journey.
Someone just took a clip of that. Mangik shine. That would be like so bad.
Cishe into yakho. Shaya na. The journey is going great. I think for me again, I can relate when you say it's not a podcast, khona umuntu ongishaya nge-DM uthi you and your brother are so annoying because every time you guys are on the platform, it's like you guys are talking about yourselves or whatever. I'm like, for fuck's sakes, duh, what do you post on your platform?
But it's not by force that you have to listen either.
Like, really?
Yeah, it's not
so
by
I'm
force.
like, literally, when I do this video shit, I look at my camera and I'm saying, this is a form of therapy for me. So people journal, you know, or blog. This for me is my vlog. And it just so happens that I post it online. So it's not too good. I'm trying to, if I'm going through something at that time, I'm talking about my journey, hence Penson, the journey, talking about my journey of growth and development and where I've been and where I'm trying to get and my challenges with fatherhood and my challenges in relationships and business and this. So I really do try and open up and be as authentically as possible. So watching that journey, and what it is, it's so crazy because again, I was actually thinking about Carl Jung the other day. We spoke about this, how people perceive you, you know. So sometimes you walk into a space. So the Penson that you guys are seeing now isn't the Penson that sits at home by himself. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes,
Carl Jung speaks about the persona versus the ego being who you are consciously by yourself in a dark space. However, who you're presenting here may not be that same person, you know. So who might be there at home, maybe doesn't have the makeup or doesn't have the hair, doesn't have mostly how you see yourself. And then there's that other layer where he speaks about the shadow and all those things that are being suppressed. So when I watch some of the clips back and I look at myself, I'm like, hey, I sound like this, I look like this, I move like
Isn't
this.
it interesting to take yourself in? Because it is documentation
It's
also.
so interesting. And it's so interesting when you're reading the comments, you know, and you're like, so this is how people see me, you know, or I'll say something tongue in cheek and some people take it so seriously. Or I'll say something so serious and people will take it as a joke and you go, wow, okay, the way I present myself, I need to be very aware and conscious of my actual thoughts and actually what I want to say, how it's being received or how I am communicating it rather to the world. Because I might think I'm saying it to you, but because it's not speaking to the language that you can understand.
Is that person supposed to hear you? Is the question.
So if they weren't supposed to hear me, then I would have just documented it and kept it to myself.
No, so what I mean is you're there, you're sharing yourself, right? But it's not for everybody.
No, it's not for everyone.
Right? So some people maybe aren't supposed to hear. Maybe
No,
they're supposed to
that's-
you.
They can't get it.
That's 100% true.
Being somebody who's so open online, and I know Penyo, you are as well. Do you ever experience like vulnerability hangovers?
Sure, that's a big. Yeah, that's interesting.
Or perhaps like, you know, you're just like,
These are the terms, boy. Love bombing, gaslighting, vulnerability, hangover.
So basically, like, I wish I hadn't shared that with so many people. Because we all
Or
have those
regretting what you
things.
posted.
Yeah, we all have that thing where even in person, sometimes you're sitting in a taxi and you're just sharing a bit too much of yourself. Your heart is full and you're like, damn, I
But
shouldn't
now
have
it's
said-"
online.
And I think it's better in a taxi, but when it's a colleague or when it's the wrong associate, you know, and you're just like, ish, I wish I hadn't told them that much. And now you're sharing this stuff online. Do you guys ever just like, ugh, I wish I didn't share
So we were
this.
joking with a colleague of mine, we were talking about Trump. And like, I'm so envious on how cancel-proof Trump is. If you were to hear that 2 weeks ago, Trump slept with a prostitute, you wouldn't be shocked. And if you heard that Trump made 20 million off a deal, you wouldn't be shocked. If you heard that Trump got married or has a new child, you wouldn't be shocked. Like, no matter what Trump, and maybe Trump might have negative connotations, but there are people in this world that have made them cancel-proof. You know, one of the things that I admire about my brother is that, like, it doesn't shock us. So we now, when you get to know Lunga, and if you like him, you like who he really is. You know things about him that I know personally. So you don't like the idea of him, you know, because again, you're presenting this persona to us. Tina sazi how you are, Masuiwan. Then we get into a relationship with you and then we realize, damn, this girl's been fake this whole time, you know. So one of the benefits about at times being so vulnerable is that you open people out and people, when they see me at a cresta, there's no Slim Shady versus Eminem versus Marshall Mathers here. Nothing is funny.
Why the threats though?
No, because I am everything from the femininity of the nails to the guy who carries a gun.
From the art of the net?
The femininity. Is that the word?
With the nails.
That
We
the
can
word?
call it gayness, but femininity can fly as well.
It is drama, I'm a nails.
Itaba ne shama nails?
So much muntu omlisa ofaka nails with that.
What's femininity in a man? It's gayness.
What?
No.
I don't mind the woman defending you.
Wait. Did we
The
all
woman
skip
can
over the
defend
part
you
where you
all
said carry a gun? Do you carry a gun?
He does.
carry
But
a
he's
gun.
spoken about it before.
Eating no.
No.
Eating.
Eating on us.
I'm more interested in not the
Put a sign outside every no gun.
White
Two
males
people
come
have
home.
guns.
Nothing.
So
There's 2 people who have guns in here.
No, not him. I don't feel. Maybe.
No. Please carry on.
anyway, so again,
It's a safe space. It's a safe
it's who I
space.
am.
Literal safe space.
I'm a dad, and my brother calls me I'm a gay dad. Okay, sure.
That is true.
You know, I love partying with my boys. We eat Malva
Oh,
pudding.
wow.
But at the same time,
I
I'm
love
also a
partying with
dad.
my boys.
That sounds off, eh? Does it sound off?
You're a
But it's my-
parent. It's not off. They're
Okay.
your
When
children,
women
you're
say
raising
this,
them.
when women are agreeing with you, Ntwana, question mark.
Question mark.
That means you're saying the right thing.
There we go.
But at the same
When
time,
women agree with
I'm
you,
also
you're
that
saying the right
father
thing.
that if my child is out of line, I'm tell his line to spanking because I will say
Okay,
bosh.
but
So-
that. Sorry, to Ursula's question, have you ever had a moment where you're
I
like,
probably have, and then I then look back and I say, okay, I shared that it might have been too much,
yes,
and then I try and look at the silver lining. But I might have shared that. How does it make me a better version? Because I want to get to a point where we speak about alignment a lot. I want my thoughts, my words, and my actions to align. And I feel like a lot of the time there's this dissonance that happens in people because who you think you are, who you say you are, is not who you actually are. You know, so in
The
your mind,
ideal.
you see yourself in this type of way.
The ideal
Look at
way.
my body is amazing. You know full well to stool. You
Damn,
full
why
well-
did you go there though?
No,
You
but
see, no, but
you could
there's
need
so
to-
much
That's when-
great-
that's
there's
when the
great
women don't
matter.
agree with you,
No,
boy.
wait.
Shout out
Let's
to
talk about
Lizzo.
this. Let's talk about
Lose
this.
weight, girl.
Depressed.
No.
Oh, Adele were telling us, "Kuti, I'm beautiful being fat." One
No,
lady,
no.
because she was trying to
but
align.
Let's let Lebo
there's
speak.
great matter in what you're saying because you can be fat and beautiful.
No,
Right?
that's perfect.
You
yeah.
can. You
Yeah.
can be fat and actually still
Absolutely.
look nice in your body.
Absolutely.
And then, but how you said it made it seem like you can only have a good body if it's thin.
Look
No.
fat and still be nice.
Yes.
Debs, you want to say something?
it
Say what you
sounds like
gotta
he
say.
does. Yeah.
You look nice according to who? When you're fat.
According to yourself.
Not according to yourself.
According to who?
Because it's still carrying forth that narrative of you can only be nice if you're skinny.
We don't like skinny
You've never
girls.
met Stutla, Cecily?
No, you want to understand that we have, like what I said, berry. Like, we have
No.
to give context. But
No,
Now we have to break down what is fat. What is fat is the person that cannot sit in this chair.
It's not about what
No,
is
no,
fat
let's-
or-
let's
or
keep
what
it going.
is thin.
Let's keep it going.
It's about like what is beauty.
Sure.
Right, so
Ulebo's point is well
attraction.
received. She was just speaking on the example you used,
Yes.
more than the point you were
More than-
making.
Exactly.
That look, you might think I'm beautiful and I'm overweight. That's all she was trying to say, and I'd like to think we all agree. When you speak about something else,
Okay.
But
that you
also-
think you're thin, but you're fat and I'm Jimmy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm saying, Nina idudla enikhohlisayo. Ne?
Wow.
That's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
let me see. Moving
How
swiftly
you
along.
see yourself.
Very
Maybe I khohlis. I've
Okay,
got fat
okay.
friends that are like,
Okay,
I'm
sorry,
healthy,
before we move
Penson,
on, can I just
because
ask one
I'm
last
healthy.
question?
You can't be healthy and carry so much excess lard on your body.
Oh.
And now you're saying I'm
Wow.
healthy.
Okay.
Your heart is beating crazy. Your ankles, your knees, your arteries. I'm healthy. No.
I think
saw
Ursula
this
had a
video
question.
on TikTok
Sure.
yesterday, which was lovely, and this guy was talking about signs of having a low IQ, and one of them.
Damn, where are we
was-
going?
It's a-
Wait, let me get
it's a
there.
side jab.
One of them was
Little jab.
one
my
of them
girl.
was making assumptions based on what you see.
Yeah.
So he was saying people assuming that just because somebody has a lot of money, they can teach you how to make a lot of money.
Yes.
Just because somebody has a six-pack, they can teach you how to have a six-pack.
Sure.
So we make a lot of basic assumptions based on what we're
Visually,
seeing
yeah.
Sure.
when it's not actually the truth of what something is. And they do that as well with fatness.
Yeah.
Just because somebody's in a larger body, you assume they have health issues.
Yeah.
Right? And that's got nothing to do with the
that
truth of
they're
the
Or the
actual
opposite.
situation.
If they're slim.
Wait. Let's calm down. Wait.
Or you assume slim is
Wait.
healthy.
Asbo,
Exactly.
wait.
Excuse.
Ulebo's made a point. Ursula, you had a question.
I do have a question. I was going to just add on, or that they're lazy, or that they're not trying, or
Exactly.
that or they don't have self-discipline Anyway.
Look.
You had a question. Sorry, it's your fault. It's your
my
fault.
question.
I'm sorry for cutting
You were
you
meant to
off.
shut it down.
Okay,
The
sorry.
question. Khumutso
Sorry.
wanted to add something.
The question that I wanted to ask, sometimes I find that with sharing, I've heard your point around vulnerability.
Please wait. Let's allow Ursula.
Around
We're not here to
vulnerability.
speak about overweight people.
My
We went
thing-
on a deviation.
My thing,
Can Ursula please ask a question? Thank you.
haven't you found that sometimes you evolve and you look back on a video you posted where you were very vulnerable and you were very honest with where you were and you were aligned as you are now, aligned with mind, body, and spirit. But you're not that person anymore and you don't see it that way anymore. Then what happens with this digital documentation that's there?
I say that.
You go back.
Because I was fat, now I'm skinny. So I say it. So Adele says it, Lizzo will say it, Slick Rickman, Slick Talk is saying it as well. Because there was a time where they were Oprah standing on the voluptuous woman. Né?
No, wait. She was asking you personally.
So
she was asking you personally.
And my response was,
Sure. No, I'm just saying we've gone past that example. Otherwise, we're going to deviate and
I
spend too
want
much
to use
time on
these
it.
examples to answer a question.
Okay.
Kanti
I just want you to know that in limited.
like kaya siya editwa noma senzenjani. So in that case,
It's just a note for me to remember who to invite and not invite for future. That's all.
it's okay. It's fine.
Manje lama
Zama
sweet
yokhuluma ekhamereni yami.
Udlama sweet am.
So I do
Blacks
try
are ungovernable.
and always
That's
go
a note
back.
as well.
I always try and go back and say, guys,
I
these are the
once said
mistakes
this
that
and
I've
this.
done. You know, and I think part of the channel being the journey is saying I've made a lot of mistakes. So I'm not coming through as the expert in the space. I'm not coming through telling you that I know everything. I'm saying, okay, guys, I'm just as flawed as the next person. I say things that I thought were funny at the time and realized 2 days later, hey, that was insensitive. You know, I should have had higher EQ, whatever the case may be.
IQ.
But it was your truth at the time.
EQ.
Yeah. But no, I said a joke that didn't land. And that does happen. So you risk every time you speak, right? That's what Jordan Peterson says. Every time you speak, you risk the chance of offending someone. You know, so sometimes your intention is not to offend. So when you revisit the video or you read the comments, you're like, I shouldn't have said that about vendor people. You know, I shouldn't have said that about
Ursula, I'd like you to make your point. I want to ask Lebo something.
No.
No, I'd like you to share a point on just your thoughts on vulnerability hangovers and the evolution of a person and their online persona.
I definitely feel that I'm not online to, and no offense to how you do, I'm not online to talk about myself. I could share personal experience, but I often do experience vulnerability hangovers. I'm a private person generally, and I don't believe everybody deserves to know all of me. I've got a big issue with just having my face online. So that was already a hurdle. Now to
That's
get
why it's not anymore here on Dope Conversations.
My face is online. I get that I've got my own channel and whatever.
TCC.
But I struggled to get there. It took a lot of convincing.
This is a real question.
Because
Could it be a small vulnerability hangover that you're not on screen right now?
Sorry?
Absolutely not.
What's the
It's not.
question?
Could it be a small vulnerability hangover that you're not on screen right now?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that's the reason I'm not on screen. Didn't you say that you'd rather have Lebo on? Why are you whispering? There are people in the room. So,
We are
yeah.
champions, sir.
No, you
Tell
can
we are
move on.
champions,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Jeez. Before I get to Lebo Penson, your thoughts? Dricus du Plessis just beat Israel Adesanya. Drake put $450,000
Drake curse
on Izzy.
at it again.
On Izzy, and he lost.
Because Drake is that type of man.
Yeah.
Can we pick up Gomotso there, Caesar? Did you see the fight, Chi?
No, I didn't. But
Any
I saw
views?
on the fight?
Yeah?
Yeah. Like somebody asked me what my predictions were.
Yeah.
And it was very hard because there was a South African on the one side, an actual South African, and a black guy on the other.
What is an actual
And it
South
was-
African?
Born,
it
raised,
was
lives,
very
trains.
And I went with the black. And
Damn.
I proved to myself that even with, all of these things that I think I've surpassed, I'm still kind of in a little box. Because I went against everything. Even at like 1:30 in the morning, I remember thinking of sending my friend a message that asked me my prediction. Be like, wait, I think it's Dricus. I think it's definitely Dricus.
Yeah.
But
That's what made
that's what
sense.
you said to me. You said the bullets will have murdered that kid. To me.
Yeah, but and then I said, oh no, Adesanya when he's in a corner. Whatever.
But I think these are two separate things, right? You were saying he could have said he thinks Dricus is going to win, But he's saying he realizes he still wants the black man to win.
Yeah, and I couldn't,
Because he's black.
I couldn't fight that. I couldn't side with somebody else.
Even if you think he might win.
When there was a thing that looked like me on the one side. And this thing that looks like me, mind you, might be the furthest thing from me because there's a boy that was born in New Zealand, grew up
Born in
there.
Nigeria.
Was he? Or is his parents just from Nigeria?
Born in Nigeria.
Was he born there?
Yeah, they left when he was probably like 8.
Okay, cool.
When you took any spectacle about New Zealand,
I get what you mean. You know what I mean? But I share very little with that.
Was based in China at some
I
point?
share more with
Yeah,
Dricus
he's been
than I do
around,
with
but that
others.
was for fighting.
Sure.
But you know what's also interesting? Yesterday, me and Caesar were driving back home on the N1. There's a board, Dricus, congratulating him for winning. And
Hey, that's quick. He literally won yesterday and they had a billboard up.
oh no, they had it before, also leading up to the fight. You know,
It's digital. Okay.
digital. And I saw it yesterday and it's congratulating him and it's written in Afrikaans.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a bunch of majority probably
It's excluding.
English speakers.
But why can't he
It's
speak
just
in his
funny
own
how
language?
people always use whatever for their own agendas, you know? Whoever decided, I want to make sure they know who this is or he is ours.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
He is not the people's.
Whose he is, yeah.
He is just ours. It's just,
You want to say something?
Yeah, man, I think obviously people got excited because it's a South African. But when it comes to the UFC and MMA, people are just, they call them casuals. So like people were just supporting based on race or country. Whereas like I put money on Dricus. Because I was like, I've been watching Dricus. I watched them fuck up Sean Strickland. So I knew Guti, what is
Chances are he's going to win.
Yeah, I knew Guti. So even like I was looking at the betting houses and I was like, this is going to be Adesanya's second loss in a row. And I'm watching it and I'm like, how he beat up Whittaker from New Zealand. Like I'm watching this guy having not lost like 6 fights in a row.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's unorthodox. You don't know what he's going to hit you. He changes stance. I was Guti uini, but une krag, you know. And that tagline on hulle weet nie wat ons weet nie.
Wat ons weet.
Wat ons weet.
Yeah, they don't know what we know.
They don't know what we know. And the way that he fights, you know, is
Unpredictable.
true boer, Bosberg type of whatever it's called. What's it called? Bosberg, no?
Augsburg, yeah.
It's like literally, you don't know. He's gonna kick, he's gonna bite, he's gonna scratch, he's gonna do what it needs to do to win. So when that fight was happening, and even the next fight, he either is gonna go back to Strickland or he's going to redo the Israel fight. And I'm like, also about pin the foot. But there's one guy that people don't know.
You can't look around the room. No one watches cage fighting here, so we're not
But
excited.
he's excited.
There's-
Let him land.
Kamzat Chimai. He's ranked number 11 because
Don't look at us with excitement.
Oh.
Where's he
We're
from?
not going to give you anything.
Where's he from?
He's from the Caucasus Mountains,
Okay.
but he looks like each China.
Which mountains?
The Caucasus man.
Where's that?
Lane, Eastern
Europe.
close to Russia. Yeah.
Ah,
Or at
yeah,
the
I know
bottom of
those
Russia.
guys.
So Bona, him or Khabib, all those type, Islam, all these Muslim guys that have just come down, and Kamzat is one of those guys that just, yes.
So yeah, the guys on Twitter were saying now that he's beaten Izzy, I think he's now number 6 best fighter in Prakpan.
Yeah.
To say what excel.
He's nearly in the top 5.
He's almost in the top 5 in
But
Prakpan.
there's many guys who are in the middleweight that
Lebo's not
beats
happy about this chat. Sorry.
Izzy. For example, there's a guy by the name of Alex Pereira
Me
who
as
might
when
go
you are
back down
lost.
because right now he's in light heavyweight.
I'm not
Sure.
lost.
So he might go
I
back
just-
down. And if he goes back
Not
down,
interested.
well, I'm shouting to Dricus. There's
I
2
was-
guys, but I'm
I
shouting.
was expecting Penson to just be like, congrats to Dricus, representing. So now he's like, yo,
got things to
on the
say.
technicality, and if you look at the cards,
You
and
He's
you're
enjoy
getting
getting
it.
so
submission,
high.
you're
You
like,
enjoy it, shame.
Hey,
That's
we
why
know.
I said
we
Little
learned.
Cookie's
We learned.
excited,
This
shame.
Mount Caucasus, that's where the word Caucasian comes from.
Maybe.
It's, that's where you jumped, ne? I
That's
think
what
my
I
brain
thought
also
when
thought
I-
that.
Yeah.
The Mount Caucasus, where the original Caucasian come from.
Mountains. Akuvela khona ama-Vikings and
Now I can't even ask him about rugby because then he's gonna go
But
technical
you know
again.
what?
No, I won't go
One of the
technical.
best
Sorry,
things
Lebo.
our government did to distract us from the race relations in our country is to make us think that sports unifies us.
Does it not?
No.
Do you not think we can
Rugby?
unite? Wait. Real question. Do you not think we can unite in pockets? Not generally, But we can celebrate.
We'll go to bench warmers.
Springboks won,
Everyone's happy.
but I hate
Pockets,
you because I want the
agree,
land.
But I also agree with you as
No,
well.
I don't think we can. I think that what black people do so well is we know how to assimilate in white spaces.
Yeah.
And we know how to
Sure.
congregate with white people
Yep.
when it matters. So that's why when sports that are heavily funded by white institutions because there are white people present, we can go, we can be happy, rugby, da 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 da. But when it's black people, the sentiment is completely different. Where are those white people who come and show
You don't
their
think white
allegiance?
people celebrate when Bafana like wins like a
I don't
big?
think so.
I
I
don't.
think, I
But
think
also
it's
in the
still
actual
a very black thing. I
No,
think
because Bafana constantly
Wait,
losing.
let's let her finish. Sorry.
No, I think it's still a very black thing. And also when you look at where funding goes, where brands put money, they put money into more of the white sports than the black sports.
Yeah.
So for me, it just shows that black people still know how to behave around white spaces because they know they can get things from there. They know, you have to be safe. How do you do that? By showing your allegiance.
I
to
don't.
whiteness.
I don't.
Wait.
remember white people
I'd like
celebrating-
Asbo to
I
speak
really
and then say,
agree.
wait,
I
guys. Let's give each other a chance. Asbo wanted to speak.
I just
Debs.
wanted to ask you more about that because this
Yeah.
is a space that you're in. When you were saying, I was thinking of also establishments like in the Parkhurst or the wherever of the world, everyone's going to gather together, right, to watch this match. And it's lovely when it happens in isolation, but it is in other spaces that are predominantly black, maybe in other spaces that people wouldn't expect to see themselves in. Would they travel to go and watch the same match in... I feel like I'm gonna
Soweto somewhere.
thanks
Yeah.
or like a tavern somewhere or whatever it is
Yeah.
that is the spot of the place.
Yeah.
But is Ben and Angela gonna drive down there because there's a match on and you just want to be around the vibe, or do you kind of work in a space of comfort or convenience or something like that?
Wait,
Yeah.
Debs, you wanted to say something before she responds?
No. I mean, the biggest sport in the world is soccer. You know, like
Football, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not as heavily funded in South Africa as rugby is.
No, let me make my point. It has the most viewership. It has the most.
Make sure you speak up now so we pick you up.
Yeah,
Sis, please save the volumes a bit low. Thank you.
It has the most viewership. The amount of ads that run during Chiefs and Pirates, or just even Sundowns and Supersport, you can't even compare to a rugby in any shape or form. You
You
cannot.
can't compare it.
You can't. The amount of people that consume this thing, like everybody, the tavern, that one TV, you think it's one TV, but there's about 80 people in that one tavern. I think the issue is that, let me not say black sport, let me say soccer, the most popular sport.
Football.
In SA. The guys are losing. If the guys were constantly winning, this conversation would have been different. You don't think so?
Okay, wait.
Wait.
I think you guys don't have to do hands. Ne? I'm going to allow Lebo to respond.
about
Penson,
Ursula
wait.
first?
I'm going to allow you to respond. Penson wanted to say something, then we'll have Ursula.
What we see is not what's happening. As a marketer, what I do know, I remember putting out a poll on Twitter a long time ago, and I was asking marketers, South African marketers, why do you guys think that Takealot isn't in the townships, right? And literally a lot of Caucasian South African marketers came and responded, and they said, because it's not safe for the company to be there, it's a lower LSM, so they don't actually have a market in the township. Those are all assumptions.
Sure.
Because the data doesn't say that, actually, right? And the issue of safety, yes, that is true, but it's not as severe as they're making it out to seem. So we have a very racial society that already, when they're thinking about how they're going to distribute the rands in organizations, they're thinking of it from a racial lens, whether they're aware of it or not, right? So when you see 80 people in the tavern and they're all watching that TV, you're thinking, wow, this is money. There are lots of people, they're drinking. But somebody who has more of a racial perspective is thinking, but these are black people sitting here. They don't really have that much money to spend. So why would we put too many resources or branding into this space when we couldn't put it in a white space where they have the money to spend?
But they do.
That's how,
Wait, Debs.
but I'm
Allow
saying
her, please.
that's how South African, the marketing and advertising worlds and
Works.
corporate worlds see it. I'm not saying that's the truth of it. I'm saying that's how they view it. So they believe the white rand has more value than the black rand. And they believe that white people have
black
more
is a
rands
rand.
to
Isn't that
spend.
true?
No, but you get what I'm saying.
When was the last time?
Wait, guys, wait. Take it easy.
That's why we put in
You'll
a
be allowed
pen.
to respond. Let her
That's-
finish.
That's what I'm saying.
We've
And
got a
that's
chain
why-
of what?
And literally, it's the structure of South Africa. There are better resources and infrastructure in places with white people than there are in places with black people. That is literally how South Africa is. And that's where the rands will go. That's how corporates will view things, whether they tell you they will or not. That's what they're doing.
Penson, Ursula, Debs, sorry. Yeah, since a debater, man. No, sir, we don't have enough time. Khumbudzo, your hand is not even up.
What's about why?
I don't have time. Wait, Debs. Wait. You'll be allowed to say your point.
Can
Just
I-
hold it. Wait.
We wanna forget.
Wait. Why would you forget? We've got you.
No, wouldn't you be
No.
specific?
Penson, Ursula, and then Tebza. But please try and keep it short.
Don't be short on Indian.
No problem. Penson's giving you his time.
Yes.
No, there's a...
Okay, Tebza would like to give his time to Ursula.
No, it's my time. I'm giving it to you.
He's giving it to you.
No, wait.
Yes, shall we
Ask
slow
the
down?
question.
Look, holistically, you're correct. But
Yeah.
when it comes to specific sports, I think you're incorrect. If
No.
You don't, okay. When was the last time you were in a tavern?
A few weeks ago.
A few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Wasn't the
Please don't personalize it if possible.
Yeah.
Try and
Yeah.
respond generically. Yeah.
So Wakashawadi, these parts of the parts of us, even not taverns at that high level, you know, you know. The fridges they're branded. The snooker table is branded.
Yes.
The outside of it is branded by a specific brand. When you go inside, the painting is branded. So
Yes.
there is resources that is being put in those places, especially for soccer. It's there. They even give free Wi-Fi because they know that within a week they're going to have about 500 people congregate because there will be 3 matches in that week.
I'm concerned-
So I think
I'm concerned,
when it comes to
sorry.
soccer,
I
think that's
wouldn't say branding is a
It's enough,
resource.
yeah.
Right. Resources are, if people are sitting in a tavern, is SAB actually creating a nicer tavern that is safer, that's got better chairs,
Something
blah, 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 blah.
experiential,
That's resources. They're not doing that.
activating.
No. They are branding things. And also what I mean when I say what I'm saying is, they can get the data. Let's say we get data that says in every Shabin, each person spends 500 Rand every time there's a soccer match.
Sure.
We can have that data.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you now, if they say they're going to spend 1,000 Rand for every person who buys alcohol at a Shabin because they're worth 500 Rand, they will go to a rugby match and spend 10 times that with the same data. So that tells you that they value the white customer more. And that's not because people are, I think it's our society, the racial biases we have, and people aren't aware because they've been living in those communities for so long, they think it's normal, right? I mean, I did a team building event for some company, and the white people didn't want to come because we had it at Sakumzi. When we asked them why, they said, no, because we're afraid our cars will get stolen. And if you've ever been to that part of Soweto, you know it's so safe. You can leave your car unlocked, nothing's going to happen. Right? So it's just those biases. They were raised that way. That's how they see things. So if you have someone with that mentality in a corporate, how are they creating strategy? How are they distributing the budgets that are there?
I've noted you. Sorry, Ursula.
Sorry, do you think this influences?
Asbo, then
This was
Gomotso.
my point. Oh, my question. Do you think this also influences the actual sport? So we're speaking of how Bafana loses. Do you think it's because not enough resources are pumped into
Yes.
the actual, teams and coaches, and in comparison to
Yes.
the Springboks?
No, the answer is no.
No.
Sorry?
It's
The answer is
also
no.
a yes. It's also
No.
a yes. It's also
they're
a
not.
yes.
They're not pumping
It's-
enough.
They're not
Fantastic.
losing because they don't have resources.
No. Part of the loss is the resources.
No.
Yes. No, guys.
We
think about it.
can disagree.
We can disagree.
We can,
little
but I can
bit.
tell
I'm
you
not
now,
saying
we've got other African teams on the continent with
Look,
way
look,
less resources. We're
it's
not
not
losing because
about-
of
Is it?
No,
lack
but-
of money.
Okay, but if you look
no,
at
you can
how-
debate. You'll be allowed. You'll be
If you
allowed.
look at how
Gomotso
Sundowns
wanted
is
to ask
winning.
something.
Is it not because Sundowns is the wealthiest team?
I'll explain why Sundowns is winning.
Okay.
Gomotso, sorry.
I really don't know.
Say
I'm
about
asking.
The white rand being more valuable than the black rand.
Yes.
Is that not true?
What do you mean?
The amount of wealth that white people have
Yeah.
in South Africa still surpasses what black people have. Right?
Yes.
So the buying power of a white person will still be more than a black person, is it not?
The richest white people in South Africa make their rands from black people.
Okay, cool.
So the black rand is more valuable. The black customer is more valuable. You don't have to spend as much to penetrate the black customer. You don't have to sell them a
Hey,
good
to
quality
penetrate
product. You
the
don't.
black
But you don't have
customer.
to, no, but that's the truth.
Hey.
Or to even
Don't have
influence
to
them. You
spend
don't
it.
have
Sorry.
to spend so much in terms of resources. There's so much you don't have to do to access a black customer. You're not
Hey.
even protected by the law. You can sell them products that are off and you will still become a multi-millionaire. When you are selling to a white person, the quality matters. If one of them gets sick, your company could be in trouble. There's so many things that you have to do. It's actually expensive to capture a white customer in South Africa more than it is to capture a black one. So black customers, if you're a real business person, they're the best to have because it's much cheaper to acquire them and to keep them.
So then
Sorry,
why wouldn't they
Okay,
advertise
but
to
then-
Wait,
No,
guys,
no,
wait. You
you
blacks
can't-
aren't
you
governable.
contradict me.
Wait.
I'm not contradicting
Wait,
myself at all.
guys, wait. Please, can you put up your hand? Otherwise, it.
You just said no hands.
No, I didn't say no. I
You
said
said
hands.
put up your hands.
Yes, I'm just saying it degenerates and then we lose it.
I'm sorry.
So please put up your hand. So I know Gomotso had a point,
No, yeah.
which is why you asked the question.
No, yeah, so it was just
You don't have to debate it. You can just share your point.
So partly that, that then it does sound like the white person would have more money. That sounds like the person I'd want to have as a subscriber versus the black person. Even though you're saying
allow him to finish.
Okay, sorry.
Even though you're saying that it's expensive to market to them, but they still have access to more money. So they can buy more of things that...
No, that's not how it works.
Okay.
Globally, when you're just looking at how you acquire customers, the more educated, the wealthier customer is harder to acquire. It's a longer journey to get them to be a customer than somebody who's poorer and who's less educated. So if you want to scale a business very quickly and sell your products quite rapidly, you want the less educated, poorer person who has less rights. And then when you're looking at the balance sheet, because you spend so much money to acquire this wealthy person, you're actually making less when you're looking at the profits because of the expense of acquiring the person, and they're not loyal. The wealthier the person is, the less loyal they become to brands and businesses because they've got options.
Oh, so they actually less appealing.
Exactly. But a poor person will be loyal because they don't really have that many options and they don't know how to exercise their rights.
I don't like some the things that you're saying, but I get
it's
I
the
get
truth.
The logic and, I mean,
Sure, let's shut it down.
And then the second thing was, if that white person is saying, yo man, me going to Sakumzi is kind of riskier than me going to, I don't know, Santin or Monistan. Aren't they true? Because they're not going to teleport into Sakumzi. They have to drive into Soweto, past everything else that's not gentrified like Sakumzi Street.
So does gentrification mean safety?
But isn't your idea that Sakumzi is safe a result of the gentrification that's happened there, though?
No, look, I know Soweto very well because I also grew up there.
Okay.
And even as what they would call a coconut, I don't feel unsafe in the township, even if it's places I don't know. But that's because I don't think black people are criminals.
Okay.
So when I'm walking around in black spaces, I don't inherently feel unsafe. I have to see indicators of unsafety for me to feel unsafe. If I see people with guns and I'm like, oh, I'm not safe here. But when I'm just around black people, there's nothing unsafe about that.
I've got you.
So I think it's a mindset thing as well. And I go to Parkhursts. I love them. I'm always there. You have to put your phone under your bum because now people are starting to grab things.
This is exactly
literally from your table. It's not safe. That's why
they warn you.
People are trying to grab things. All I'm saying is no. But what I'm saying is honestly, but what I'm saying is that there's a lot of crime. There's a lot of crime. So if you're a person who's dining there, you have to be very safe. Like you have to try very hard to take care of yourself because they can steal your bag now.
You wanna come off the table?
Whilst you're walking.
Hey, look, you shake back and forth. You're done. Sorry, Ursula.
A quick sentence. I've been robbed several times and it's never been in a township.
And there's never
And
been
these-
a white person.
But it's not about being a
I don't know. The other time they broke into my car when I wasn't there, so I don't know.
Could have been.
You know what?
Who's to say?
China.
Why China now?
But
Sorry, I wanna
these are the
Sorry.
facts. If you're in Parkers nowadays, there's those bodyguards along the side of the
Yes,
road.
they
There's so
have
much,
to
and
be
we don't
warning
find
you
bodyguards
also.
at corners, go Shabvilo, wherever. You know what I mean? We don't live like that.
And guys, colonialism is as much of a crime as petty theft, if not.
We went there.
No,
Bring back our land.
no.
cooking.
All I'm saying
Bring
is
back
that
our land. Mount
all I'm
Caucasus.
saying to you guys is that, and this is why I don't talk about these things often, but why I know marketing is so important is that we've made the face of crime black people when actually the biggest face of crime for African people is white people. So where do we get off with this bias, even as black people, to say, but the criminals in Parkhurst are black? So what?
We're never gonna get sponsors with Lebo on this thing.
We are
I'm just
marketing.
ready.
Oh, Ngamla will just be like,
No.
no.
And
Is that Lebo girl gonna be? No, we can't sponsor you. She said colonialism.
I'm just saying that we shouldn't walk around with biases that don't make sense because we're making assumptions and we don't know the backing behind them. So all I'm saying is we can't just assume Soweto is unsafe because it's in Soweto or there are black people there. We can't assume Sandton is safe just because white people are there. You have to literally use everything as its own little case study and navigate through it that way.
Where
Yeah?
does black
But
people-
you spoke about stats, and now going back.
Did
to
you put your hand up, sir? I didn't see
conversation
it.
On stats, there's certain police stations that tend to have higher numbers of certain crimes,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at places like these
Where Sandton or
whiter areas.
Yeah.
They have lesser crime stats than there. So when you talk about
Okay.
assumptions and isolated situations,
yes.
generalizations, stereotypes have saved a many person. Meaning that if I'm leaving and walking to the nearest petrol garage, whatever the case is, to go buy a snack, and I see 3 black guys coming here with their hands behind their back, and
where are you?
skinny.
Sentence.
I could be anywhere.
Okay.
You put me anywhere.
As long as they're black.
I'm seeing the time now is 8:30, and Konama Kita I 3 as a soul, and I have bumper sweat tickets. But say,
Yeah.
I can go, well, they could have come from Bible study. That's a real option. Or I could just cross the road. Or as they come, then they're shouting a double fasten here, double fasten here.
Are you having asthma, Rob?
Just because there's
Oh,
certain
no alliance.
assumptions are always wrong. Assumptions are wrong, but generalizations and stereotypes sometimes are in.
Can we please close it there? Lebo, can we please close it there?
Wait, no.
Okay,
No,
we're gonna
because
after you
I
speak,
have
we're
to
shutting
say
down
what
this
I'm
topic.
going to say.
No, sir, no.
What's
If
the
we're
topic?
gonna-
that we
No,
should
sir.
have?
If we're gonna talk
Can
about
I, before you answer, Lebo, I was actually asking about sports and Dricus, and it deviated. This is why I'm saying black's ungovernable. So I allowed it to go. Wait, I need to ask me a question. I allowed it to go, and it's okay. So I'm just saying, can we please wrap up so we can move on to the next one?
But we haven't finished about sports.
Sure.
But you guys are not speaking about sports.
Can I just
Lebo
make
didn't
my
speak
point
about
very
sports.
quickly?
No, I'm just saying right now. That's why I'm saying, please wrap it up, because you're
Yeah.
not.
Can we speak about sports?
Oh no, please
No,
no.
no, you can't, because you were meant to and you didn't.
All I'm gonna say is
Sorry, Lebo,
all
please.
I'm gonna say about these stats, the police station stats, is that the more privileged people are, the more they're above the law. So a lot of crimes that happen in privileged places don't actually get documented because people pay for those things to go away. Seriously, that's what happens. It's not because there's less crime in privileged places. It's because people have privilege to make the crime go away. That's
What
the
do you mean
difference.
by that?
Thank you.
So I mean, you can actually pay. So let's say your wife, you're a powerful politician,
Yeah.
and your wife goes to report that you beat her. You can make it go away.
But those are rare.
Hey.
No,
Lips are- those
no.
are rare.
How do you know
Hey.
those are rare? How do you know those are rare?
So like people
Can I
that
please
live in
podcast
suburbs
with
where
white
there's a
people?
house
Can I please
break-in,
podcast with
there's a
white people?
chance where they might
Ah,
not report a house break-in as an example.
or rape, or
It's not
domestic
about.
violence.
It's not about
or-
that. It's also about if there's poverty in an area, there's certain crimes that will be more prevalent than others.
Sure. So
And
something
in more
like getting
privileged
hijacked.
areas, there'll be certain crimes that are more prevalent. That's
so
all I'm
so
saying.
it's fair for colleagues to not want to go to a Soweto.
Yes.
Because
very fair.
that prevalent crime, whatever that
No,
may be,
it's not because-
is higher there.
No, it's not.
How
Because
is
literally, Parkhurst,
not?
that street, 7th Street, is less safe than that street that Sukumzi is on.
7th Street, we still love you, but
can
yeah.
we please
That's
stop
true.
there?
I'm saying
You
7th
guys
Street, we still
disagree
love
on
you.
the
7th
stats.
Street, and we still
You
love
guys
7th
disagree on the
Street.
stats, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it kuba parliament.
Yeah, okay.
Next thing in your delela.
but
next
but
thing it's
I
withdraw
don't hate white
delela.
people. I don't hate
Parliamentary
anybody.
delela. Damn.
I'm talking about George. Sorry.
This is why we do a one-on-one on panel show.
Sorry, Babu Mlotshwa, please continue.
I'd like Penson to come in. You did a video on Mihlali's open letter.
Yeah.
So Mihlali had posted, I think most people who will have watched this will know. Mihlali posted pictures of herself looking bruised. It would come out that there were allegations that Leeroy, her ex-boyfriend now, had beaten her up. He came in, released a statement stating that, she'd come at him with a knife,
Yep.
75 missed calls or something like that, and he was defending himself, pushing her away. Then she did an open letter video, and you weren't happy with it.
Sure.
If you can just quick summary of what the open letter video said, and just your thoughts, and then we'll send it around the room.
Sure. I think going to Ulebo's points about the importance of marketing. Usisi Mihlali posted pictures of her being bruised there, and then all she wrote was, "Thank you to my love, this guy."
And she deleted it.
And then she allowed us as the public to make assumptions.
She deleted them after. You're right.
She didn't write, "He beat me up, he's an abuser, GBV," just pictures of her being bruised, and "Thank you so much, my love," and allowed us to then carry on and make these assumptions. Okay, ushayu. And to Lebo's point, we can't make assumptions. On a black eye, before spap. Then she goes and she makes a video, one in grayscale. Talking already, as understand it, TV, grayscale is about death.
Like say, for normal people, it's a video in black and white.
Yes, but if black and white has a certain theme to it.
Different tones.
It's very important to actually understand that.
Sure.
We've seen Usisi Mihlali dressed very sexual, provocative, whatever, and she's dressed incredibly humble for her standards with how she's covered herself. The fact that camera doesn't go amabele ila camera.
Sure. Quick summary of the video.
Quick summary video, and just her tone in speaking about that. And then she speaks about how she's accountable and she's responsible, but she doesn't speak about what happened. She has nothing. So she's going to say, I'm such an accountable person. And I'm listening to it.
Sorry, before you share your views, I just want to say, so on the video, a quick summary. She's basically saying that she's been in a toxic relationship.
Yes.
And that's why things have unfolded. She understands there's GBV in the country.
Yes.
And she's going to take accountability for whatever she's done. And she knows a lot of women struggle with some of these things.
Sure.
You can share your views.
And again,
Thank you.
incredible. The way that I'm receiving it is it's victimization. You know, of how she wants to be the victim in all of this. Because she speaks about being a toxic relationship.
I've got you, Lebo. Is that a hand up? Is that it?
I'm just holding.
Guys, I'm just talking about how I received it.
No,
right?
it's okay.
So
It's
she
okay.
speaks about being in a toxic relationship, but she doesn't speak about the fact that she put herself and Leeroy, he's also he's not a perfect being here, in a space where she's with a married man, you know, which we see as a no. So if you, guy, go and be with a woman who is married, you and that woman who is married are wrong. But she doesn't speak to that. She doesn't speak to the fact that she was flaunting the trips with Leeroy, the this, the that, while Umama Wengani is there with the kids at home. She doesn't speak to that. She doesn't speak to the fact that she had a knife, and she just says, there's toxic relationships, GBV is a real thing, I feel sorry for everyone. Guys, let's just kumbaya and be responsible.
So you cried after you watched the
I
video?
had tears.
Really?
I was slipping.
Who are you crying for?
Crying for nothing. I just looked like I was this way.
You were angry after watching the
I
video?
wasn't angry. Angry is definitely not what I was. I was just saying, look, it's marketing at its best. You know, she's again trying to push a certain narrative, like she did initially with the pictures. Whatever she's selling, I don't buy it.
Anyone with an alternative view?
I mean, I want to know if this is actual safe space to have an opinion about this.
It's going on
It's
to the
not.
internet.
It's going on. So no opinion. No comment.
What do you have up your sleeve?
Zokhuluma masisitele kishi.
Ursula,
I
Asbo.
disagree with your brother,
Sorry, Lebo.
Penson. I disagree with you.
That's fair.
I think it was brilliant. For a long time, Mihlali's just been doing really weird things when it comes to her public appearances, right? And I think she's been speaking in a really reckless way. For me, this was the first time she was really thoughtful and intentional about what she was talking about. And she needed to be, because this is a very important topic, right? GBV, abuse, these things are really hot topics in South Africa, not because it's cool, but because it's happening to so many people. You have to address that with as much sensitivity as possible. I think she was very mature in not saying people's names and only talking about her experience, because she can't speak on Leeroy's behalf. So for her to only say, this is what I experienced, she didn't say he could not, she just said, me, this is how I feel, this is what I'm going through. That is like perfect PR. Because what it does is it makes people stop focusing on him and start to focus on her, what she's talking about and the conversations she wants to take moving forward. And her community, who's very loyal to her, is going to appreciate that, because I'm very sure that at least 30% of her audience have experienced abuse. And they could even relate to the tone. They could relate to what they're seeing. I don't think she is just doing this for clickbait. Unfortunately, we have one of the highest rape and violence statistics in the world. So we can't pretend like they don't exist because you don't like Mihlali, because she was with a guy who was married. That's got nothing to do with the fact that she's experienced abuse.
Sorry. You watched the video.
I did. I love the video.
So Penson's parting shot was, whatever she was selling, I'm not buying.
Yes.
Did you find her believable in that
I
video?
think she was very believable. And what made her the
What was
most
she selling
believable
to
for
you?
me was the fact that she read her apology.
Yeah.
Right? Because then to me
Was
it
she
says...
apologizing to?
What do you mean?
You said she read her apology.
I think she was apologizing to her
You
fans.
think?
Yes.
Let's take it easy. Let's take no. Please allow her. Please allow her. No, Debs.
what is she
No,
read her
no,
apology?
guys. No, she has to speak. What you're doing is not
I
right.
really think that.
Sorry, Lebo, please continue.
I really think that. And also the male gaze on this thing is such a wild thing. Because
what's male gaze?
The male gaze on Mihlali's
opinions
situation.
right
So
now.
the gaze you guys are having, whatever it may be, has to
it's just
also
a
be
male
approached-
perspective.
Yeah, a male perspective.
Oh,
on
okay.
this.
Also female
Also
gaze.
has to be approached with sensitivity because of the culture in South Africa. You guys have to understand the value of your opinions.
Yeah.
The guys who are watching this, They're going to learn so
Sure,
much from
that's
you
true.
guys about how to navigate through conversations about abuse from how you guys are reacting.
Yeah.
I'm fine. But I know other women aren't going to be if they misinterpret what you guys are saying.
And what if
So
they
it's
misinterpreted what you are saying?
important. They won't. I'm a woman.
Wow.
No, seriously.
Make those assumptions.
I'm not making those assumptions. I'm a woman who's
Therefore,
mainly...
all women understand you.
No.
No,
that's
let's
not why
allow
I
her,
said-
please. Let's allow her, please.
But anyway, the fact that Mihlali read her apology,
Yeah.
for me, I think it screams when somebody's watching, oh, I thought about this so much, and I'm not just speaking from my emotions.
Yeah.
I wrote this down. It is well considered. So from a PR perspective, but also from her building her brand and her community, that was a very, very good move. It's good that they didn't show her body being sexual. There's some occasions that don't call for that.
Sure.
She's a human being, and the people who want to sexualize her want her to be sexy 24/7. But if you follow her, and I do, I know her content. Sometimes she's sexual, sometimes she isn't, like all women. So why do we want to police how women express themselves as if I express myself sexually, therefore I can't have the rights of other women of also having privacy, or also having this, or also having that, whatever the thing may be, right? So for me, I think she did a very good job. I think it's forcing our society to rethink how they view women and their beliefs about relationships, cheating, all of that. I think this whole situation is making people really rethink, or at least have conversations that open us up to a bigger narrative.
One more question for me. Based on the video and everything that's come out, do you think she is a victim?
Yes.
And Leeroy is a monster?
I wouldn't say he's a monster simply because I don't like him, right? But I wouldn't say he's a monster. I don't like him.
Sorry.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call him a monster because I think in the climate that we're in South Africa, villainizing men in that way, using those kinds of words, is divisive. You know, especially coming from a woman, it just becomes a gender war. And it's not even about that. For me, it's
The
abuse
issue.
is wrong. It's wrong to be abusive. It's wrong to abuse your partner. I don't know about him being a monster.
Yeah.
I just want to focus on the fact that we need to teach people that abuse is wrong.
Penson, with the little bit of information we have, do you think Leeroy is a victim?
No. I mean, Leeroy. No, I don't think he's a victim at all.
Okay. You think they both equally to blame?
Yeah, like I think Leeroy nayo yagang indlela yakhe. And again, when the stories are coming out, she had a knife at him.
Yeah.
You know, so how can she be a victim in that space? Because your phone alana 78 times. No, hambi endlini.
No, but
You know,
no. So on the information we have, sorry, let me maybe specify. She
Yeah.
came out with bruises.
Yeah.
We're not speaking about their whole relationship.
Yes.
And she came in, he was married. We're speaking a situation where someone says, "I've been beaten."
She didn't say that.
She said she was a victim of violence.
She didn't say
She said
was
she's a victim of
beaten.
abuse.
She didn't say I was beaten by Leeroy. We need to be very
Okay.
clear in this. So
So
she
but-
said
okay.
she's been in toxic relationships.
Sure.
She never isolated her relationship with Leeroy specifically. She was
Okay.
very, very smart in that. So she was talking general, and I think a lot of general people who have experienced it,
Yeah.
look what she's talking at an umbrella. She wasn't talking directly.
Did she
Okay.
say
Me
toxic
and not
relationships
okay.
or toxic relationship?
I also heard
She-
singular,
she
but that's not
said-
important.
She said S, and she also said.
So I just want to specify. So she's got bruises,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That's evidence. We see
Yeah.
someone's got bruises. I'm asking specifically to that. And you're raising that Leeroy says there were 75 missed calls and a knife in that
Yeah.
incident, not their relationship. You believe they are both equally to blame, or do you think Leeroy is a victim or she's a victim?
No, I don't. I think she's spot on when she says toxic relationship was in that space. She's spot on, but she's not a victim in my eyes. Nor is he a victim. You know, it's me just walking to a space, seeing two people be shayan, and then I have to now feel sorry for the one over the other, and I don't have the entire story. I don't have. I've got pictures that I saw, and I've got Leeroy's statement. That's all I have. So if she were to give, let's say, a blow-by-blow from her view, and then he gives a blow-by-blow from his view, and the kids that were there and the bystanders that he speaks about, then we'd have a better understanding. So for now, you know, he says she had a knife, the number of missed calls, this, that, you know, we saw the pictures. So give me, why must I make one a victim and the other one, I don't have enough information. Why would I do that?
Before you speak, Lebo, anyone else would have thought on this?
I don't think it's a safe space to speak, so I won't speak. I honestly want to-
Tebogo would like to say something, but not on camera.
Yeah.
Because of the
I-
platform.
It's not the platform. You know, these conversations are hectic, especially with men and women. Already with Lebza's and her view is completely different from mine. So that from the base of the conversation, we don't agree.
I just want to ask, when you say safe space, are you saying because of the women that are here?
Yes, and the women in general.
Or women generally?
Yeah. But
this is something you'd want to discuss with men only.
Yeah, right. Even Lebza's statement, Sauri, it's almost like she's saying, be careful of what you say, especially the two of you.
I am.
Yeah, and she's right to say so.
I'm saying that.
That is policing how you must respond.
Correct.
That's the problem. But the fact that sentence already exists is saying that whatever I want to say, I must make sure that it's in line with Lebza.
No, that's not what she's saying.
That's not what I'm saying.
Let him finish.
No, he can finish.
No, that's what she's saying.
No,
we're just trying to correct.
No.
But you can finish, sir.
I think she's speaking
Please
to
continue.
being responsible with the things that you say because this is going onto the internet.
And it influences other men.
Once you say that, you're saying I must conduct myself in a specific way.
No.
And the words I use.
No.
Guys,
guys,
it is there.
She's saying allow yourself to
Let's let Debza finish. Let's let
putting
Debza
a
finish.
camera on someone. The mere fact that you put a camera on someone is already going to change certain things that they were going to say. Just by camera.
Let's let
You're not
Debza
going to
finish.
say, be careful of your words.
Yes.
Even if it's two of us, there's a machita, a kishin, and I say to you, hey, Fitz, just be careful of how you put things. Already, that's going to make you.
Don't we just want him to be honest?
No, guys, and that is the problem.
Let's let Debza finish. Sorry, I'll share my view. I'll let Ulebo and Ursula speak.
The convo we had last week with our editor.
Yeah.
Actually now, it's like,
Sure.
Already that was like, how am I going to respond into this?
It's a threat, yeah. Watch what you say.
So that's what I'm saying, that the fact that sentence is there.
You don't feel safe, to be honest.
I can't be fully honest.
I understand. I understand. Ursula, you wanted to say something?
I wanted to say, I don't think Lebu cautioning you to say that what you're saying online speaks to the younger generation, or even if it wasn't online, like even if it wasn't online, for somebody to say, hey, or influencer, you're influencing a plethora of men that look up to you.
Yes.
You know, there's nothing wrong with saying that. For you to take it as a threat,
threat,
it means that in and of itself, there's something problematic with what you wanted to say. That means. Okay.
Yes.
Don't shout. Wait.
Let's leave it.
Guys,
Wait. Benson. You're not being fair. On Khumbudzo. He keeps quiet when you're speaking.
Okay.
Wait, Ursula.
So then the second thing I wanted
Before
to
you
say-
carry on, guys, just be careful the jumping up and the shouting because we are recording.
Just be careful.
No,
Just be careful.
if you guys would like to consume this when you watch it back and it's not wow and you can't hear anything, it's gonna be your fault. That's all. Khumbudzo, I don't know if you wanted to say something.
No, I was just gonna say I agree with what Debza is feeling, just based on the fact that it's almost like he's being requested to filter himself.
Correct.
And there's a presupposition then that the way that he usually is almost savagery or something, you know, like, yo man, clean yourself up before you say this, don't be the normal you, because now other people are going to hear this. And our primary thing when we are speaking, when we open our mouths, is to try to communicate a truth that we're feeling.
Yes.
Because we're hoping that by doing that, we'll get to some form of a better place, of clarity. But you guys are saying don't.
No.
You're saying
Your interpretation is don't.
It's fine, we'll clean it up.
That's okay.
We'll clear it up.
Yes.
You're speaking to us.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that you understand how we receive something that you say, so that maybe you can think about, if that's not my intention, maybe then I need to find different words, maybe to explain the thing, because they're clearly misunderstanding this.
No, I don't.
Don't answer, Lebo. Don't answer. Ursula, you wanted to finish your point?
Okay.
And then I did have a second thing.
Okay.
Apologies, sir.
Can I carry on?
Please carry on.
I disagree with what Penson was saying, because
Yeah.
Penson is suggesting some sort of victimless crime when there's somebody whose ass was kicked. I need to.
How do you know the S was?
Wait,
Yes.
Penson.
No, Penson,
Wait.
Hey, Tanga, you must say.
I want to
Relax.
get to that. Did this person seem like they had their ass kicked?
Seem like.
Yes.
They definitely seemed like,
They
of
seemed
the
like
pictures.
by what, bruises or?
Yes,
Yes.
the pictures, it seemed
So
like.
she did get hit by someone.
No. By someone.
Yes.
We can't say someone. Who's
By
the someone
what
in the
then?
room?
By a
Because
Yeah,
if
you
you read
see-
Leeroy's statement,
There's English terms what
Read
you guys are
Leeroy's
doing now. I think it's called
statement.
whataboutism.
guys,
Let's
read Leeroy's statement.
Yes, but Leeroy also.
Let's not put ourselves in any space.
No,
where-
we're not.
All right, cool.
Khumbudzo
My-
speaking
the
to
point
what
I
we've
was getting
seen.
to was, it's very important that men realize, obviously, that the strength that they have. So even when a woman is coming at you with some sort of physical force,
With a knife, yeah.
because I understand that I have superior force, there's certain
To a
things
knife.
I'm not gonna do. So yeah, the knife thing, man.
Yeah.
To a knife.
Yeah, that knife thing is hard, man, because that's such a
That was your second point.
self-defense.
Sorry,
yeah, that's
Ursula.
the second point. That's it, man.
Okay. So I think with the first one, I like.
Caesar, you're not itching to say something. Wow, you've got
Not a safe
discipline.
space.
Yeah, and it seems to
Sorry,
be
Ursh.
his business. Oh,
Sorry,
you're
Ursh.
busy measuring the mics and the volumes and stuff. Okay. So I think one of the things I like to tell this story, and I like to tell it in the presence of men because this is when the penny dropped for me. One day I'm sitting at a dinner table with my friends, and
You
there's
can
10
speak
of us.
slower, it's fine.
Sorry. One day I'm
No,
sitting,
people might not hear it when they listen.
One day
back.
I'm sitting at a dinner table with my friends, and there's 10 of us, and randomly the story of like assault and sexual assault comes up. And it had been happening over years because these are friends that I had known from high school, and this is now post-varsity. And I just have a moment where, you know, I look around and I realize, 7 of 10 people here have experienced some kind of assault. And the number, like I realized, oh my gosh, this is actually like a lived reality. And it was the ease that we were telling these stories with, almost like laughing a little bit.
It's normal.
Yes. Like, but remember when it happened to me? And then, you know, and it's like crazy stories of getting roofied and this and that, you know, and you just realize, oh, damn, 7 women here have had this experience, and that is the reality. And I know that as men, right, you do have struggles. I never take it away. And you've got your own things that you're going, but it's our lived experience to be scared of you guys. And you constantly prove to us that
Why
we
we
need
should
to
be
be scared of you. So when a woman stands up and says, hey, I've been beat, we don't second guess. Because it might not be your experience, but it's definitely your mom's or your aunt's or your rakhadi. You know someone. So when Mihlali stands up and she does that, like, women aren't second guessing, absolutely.
Is that hashtag I believe her?
I'm
that's
just,
not really?
No, I'm doing general statements.
Okay.
And so that's the first thing. And then the second thing, and this might cause debate. I don't want it to cause debate. I'm very much anti-violence in the sense that I feel that human beings specifically are so intelligent and are so superior thinking that I don't think we're allowed to justify being overcome by anger as something that would lead you to violence, right? Because that would now put you're putting yourself in the category of a fox or a monkey, and you're not, right? And you're allowed to say, perhaps my exposure to certain things has normalized, right? How I move and how I view violence and how I view swearing and how I view things that perhaps aren't good and aren't correct, but you're not allowed to say nature leads me to this place where I needed to beat someone. We're we're superior beings, right? So that's my general observation on just, you know, and I think that's why I'll take it to the point where, like, if you're, you know, giving a baby a slap on the wrist or a 2-year-old, because you can't reason with them yet. But once the child starts being able to reason, there is no reason why you can't reason with
Bars.
them. Right?
Shout out to Reason. Caesar Alakine.
And then the last thing, I didn't want to forget, yeah, you guys will probably
Before
disagree.
you disagree with Ursula, I'd like Lebo to share her to rather clarify. I'd also like to share my 2 cents.
Please share yours.
Now, I wanted you to clarify to Debza why you said what you said about watch what you're saying and male gaze.
I had
Because
point
you said
number
it.
3. I had point number 3.
My apologies. My apologies.
Sorry, point number 3 was just re-emphasizing Khomozo to say, and, you know, in the situation of violence, and like it just shouldn't get there. That's why I started with point number 2. You know, just consider that men's strength is significantly. And yeah, it's a bit of like, feminists going up when men are stronger, but generally.
Lebo, you don't need
But
water,
some
just
feminists that are gonna take you for saying that.
engine
Sorry?
overheat.
There's many feminists that are going to take you for what you say.
True, you know, but we're talking about just the average man versus the average
But
woman.
they're going to take you for that.
It's fine.
Even if now, if I stood up and I said, okay, we're doing rounds of Dimpama, I'd rather have Lebo and Klape Kampama than you.
Yeah.
You know.
Me too. I'd rather.
Please, please, Lebo. If you'd like to clarify it with Debza, otherwise
Yes.
I'll share my opinion.
Sure. I think, you know, I spend a lot of time in male-dominated spaces where I am the only woman in the room. And the things I hear men say are unacceptable. And I also see that they're not even aware of my presence there to even just like manage how they say something so I don't take it in the wrong way, right? So I find that men, when somebody actually cautions you to say, just be aware that this is not a room just full of men, that maybe there are other people who are going to feel some type, just be aware of how you're speaking so that other people can really hear you without feeling oppressed by your opinion. And I know that sounds very weird for me to say, but because you've never lived as a woman, you don't know what it's like to have to pretend to be okay with what people are saying.
Please
because it's the norm.
unacceptable. You said,
What do you mean unacceptable?
You said there's things, you've been in a room full of majority.
Men say a lot of unacceptable things.
Unacceptable to who? I'm trying to understand.
For women, for
women.
anybody who's
Okay.
an other in the room, they say a
woman
lot of
or you?
unacceptable.
Women.
Woman.
Women.
Women.
Yeah.
Well, to her, but
To
because she's
women.
also heard other women reference the same thing.
I don't
Yeah.
have to hear other women reference the same thing. The same as Ursula's example. 7 women at the table of 10 have all experienced sexual harassment. Hello? Our lived experiences are very different to you guys. You guys aren't sitting and talking about how you experienced abuse. It's not the same. I'm not saying men don't have challenges. What I'm saying is, as women, we know what we are experiencing. We know we feel unsafe in a room full of men. But if I have to go there because that's where I'm getting my check, that's how the boardroom is, I'm going to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And because I'm the only one, I keep quiet when they're saying things that are harmful, scary, offensive. I have to keep quiet. But because I am always that person in the room, I am conscious of what I say and what it means to the people around me. But men are not. So when somebody cautions them, they feel restricted. But as women, we've been taught restriction for so long that we go
Second
around
nature.
trying to make things comfortable for people to hear. Which is why my brand will be unappealing to a lot of men, because I've realized that doing that is actually doing a disservice to all of us. So when I'm with guys, I say, but guys, do you know, I could be a billionaire sitting in this room. The boys will still listen to you when they listen to this podcast. What I have to say will carry very little value. So I also need men on my side if I want men to hear what I'm saying. And that's why I was saying what I said to you. Just be mindful. We can disagree, it's fine. But just be mindful that there's some guy, a young kid, whatever, listening to you, and they're going to take your opinion over mine.
And if the take
So-
home is that abuse is okay.
Yes,
just
then they're going to
be-
think it's
yeah.
okay because Lebo's just a woman, but you're a man, and that means something. So, like, live in that responsibility. Don't just walk around like it's nothing.
Yeah.
It means something.
Are you going to say abuse is okay?
No, sorry, let me jump in. I'm looking at the time. I think we've been going for an hour 16, maybe. I'm not sure how much longer we can go, and I know Penson's got a meeting. Still good. All right.
It's hot in this room.
So, the exercise or whatever just happened here is, I think it was actually great, precisely because this is what we're
It's a
dealing with
conversation.
in society. There are spaces that don't feel safe for women a lot, and there are spaces that don't feel safe for men. And the reason we had the rise of people like Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson is because so many men have felt suppressed to share their honesty for so long. And when women say things like, just watch what you're saying, there are men that take huge offense to that. And they're like, this is exactly why men are taking their lives. This is why men are doing drugs. Men have unemployment and then you lose a man. And I think I've sat in rooms where I speak to women and I say, for example, we'd argue with, let's say, Amandi Samashego, I think Nsigi Mazwai. I'd argue with them and I'd be like, I'm trying to help you. So when you're like, but you men, I'm like, you're gonna lose me.
Oh, you're
So I need you. Why would? And you're like,
oh, you're mansplainer.
I was only trying to help. And a lot of other men that would watch that would be like, oh, fuck it, type of thing. And then we all of us then lose. So I understand what Debs was saying in terms of safe space, the platform, and women. He's allowed to have that opinion. And what he said when he was like, yeah, but you make me feel like, I was saying to him, you're right. Because that is what it is. He said policing. And I'm like, that's correct. Because she is saying, pasop. And that's how it's interpreted by men. But on the other side, I'm like, but we do have to, we have to pasop because we could easily flip this into Debs as a white guy and we're black people. And he's now being like, so can I be honest? And you're like,
But careful.
Exactly.
because you realize there's black people in the room and you're like,
Careful.
you know what, it's what, yeah, but as soon as you said I must watch out, and you're like, but we are a racist country.
That happened on the big debate. I think it was that episode where they were talking about like race relations and they had a lot of TikTokers and stuff there. A lot of the white people felt like they were being oppressed, like they were
Yeah.
being silenced, because they kept saying to them, but you can't say something like that. And the guy was like, why not? We live in a rainbow nation. Why can't I say this like this? So you have to know your point of privilege. As a man, you are more privileged than a woman in many ways, right? Especially in social dynamics and thought leadership, whatever. People are going to believe you over the woman. You have to be careful about what you're saying and how you're saying it.
So
And-
I'm going to wrap up quickly in saying, Debs, for people like you, I know Penson and I probably don't suffer from this. Because we love women, we love our mom, we love our sister. I've got daughters, so I've got license. But this is the thing. We're going to get to a point where many boys, which I think is happening now, feel oppressed to speak their truth. And then you do a disservice for boys and men out there. So Lebo's going to be like, on behalf of women, pasop. And then we'll be like, thank you for the pasop. But on behalf of men, fuseki. You know what I mean? We won't hear from Mihlali or whoever because we're not happy with what we saw. So that hopefully the more mature, in the genders at least, can come together and then go back and be like, guys, I think that's what these men were saying. And now it's going to be like, now you explain so that we can find each other. Because the problem is if, let's say Lebo silences you, as an example, and then Gomotso says something or Penson says something and it silences her, like, oh, okay. Since Penson's like, well, I've got a gun. And you're like, oh, it's fine. Mihlali was wrong. We lose her as well. So these conversations need to be had. We can't be brutally honest. We can't be fully honest for various reasons. But this was a good exercise of what happens in society. Because on both sides, like both feelings are valid. You know what I mean?
But not all expressions are valid, even though the feelings are.
That'll be your opinion.
No, but seriously.
No, but that'll be your
even
opinion.
with the whole Dominic Zaka thing of him trending on TikTok right now.
Ubani,
People are
sorry,
saying,
please can you
do
give us
know
context?
who Dominic Zaka is?
I don't.
Dominic is a big creator on TikTok. Oh my God, I spent too much time on TikTok.
Sorry,
Anyway,
we're filming this episode on the 19th of August. Hopefully it'll drop in a few days. But if you like, that was trending on Monday.
yeah, no. So Dominic is part of the LGBTQIA plus community, and she identifies as a she. And she has a page where, she shows her makeup and she's cute and she's doing her thing. But people will always comment and be like, they'll use, derogatory terms to refer to her and be like, a real man doesn't wear makeup, a real
Was she born male, biologically male?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So whenever people come with violence on her TikTok, she'll do a whole video, like literally telling that person why they're wrong, And people have been so violent that she'll even go onto their pages. If they show their work uniforms, she'll tag the company they work for to show them how violent that employee is. And people have lost their jobs because of that. So people are complaining now and saying, no, but that's unfair. People should be able to say what they want to say about Dominic on Dominic's page. Yeah. And I went into that debate saying, but it's not her responsibility to be a quiet victim.
Correct.
Or a palatable victim.
Correct.
You come to me, you punch me, I'm gonna do something about it, right? Especially in that bullying, cyberbullying situation.
Yeah.
The punching thing was the wrong metaphor to use.
Use the knife.
No, but the point that I'm making is a lot of people were saying they don't feel like they're free to express themselves because Dominic is policing how.
Yeah.
And I said, but you also need to be the kind of person who understands that there's some things you shouldn't be sharing. Like if you think somebody's ugly, why do you feel the need to type it? Why not just go somewhere else? Why do you have to consume that thing and say, you are ugly, you are this? Do you get me? And I think where the gender thing is, it's so nuanced that men aren't aware that there are some things that they say that are like saying you are ugly.
Correct.
They're just not acceptable. You don't say that.
Sure.
Keep it to yourself. No one's policing you.
You should
As
keep
a
it to yourself.
person, you shouldn't be saying that to anybody.
Yeah.
But because of the gender dynamics, men feel like they can. And when women say, no, but my rights, my boundaries, men go, oh, no freedom of expression. You're policing me. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm just telling you that this is something. There's certain things I can't just say to you. You're a person. I have to be mindful of what I'm saying to you and how I say it.
But we're not the same. That's where it becomes different. So the best thing to do is to reference in your example.
Yeah.
So your sons want to go and post on Dominic's page.
Yeah.
And you're like, be careful what you're saying. Then the father comes in, don't tell the boys.
Yes.
And you're like, the reason I'm telling the boys is because I've seen what it's done to other people. I don't want the boys to suffer.
No, but also as a man, you should be teaching and reframing the mindset and the communication skills in your household that we wouldn't even be thinking that way or speaking that way.
But men don't want to agree with you. And you can't force them,
No,
unfortunately.
it's not
Lebo.
about agreement. It's about healthy debate.
According to you.
No.
You can say no all you want. We can go
seriously.
around in circles.
It's about healthy debate.
Let me make my
I'm
point.
not saying that we have to agree. All
Let me
I'm
make
saying
my
is-
point without us going back and forth.
Okay.
You have an opinion that, as you're conveying it, you believe it's correct.
Which is what?
No, whatever it is,
Okay.
that men should reframe, whatever. You believe you're correct.
Why is it whatever?
No. Oh, I can say the whole thing because you believe men should reframe so that in the household, all the things you said.
What did I say?
Oh,
You were saying there's certain things that ought not to be said.
Yeah, he just means the things that you have been speaking about. So he's
Yes.
trying to just
For
summarize those. I don't.
for
he's
our
not
belief-
saying that they were so irrelevant.
No, I'm not saying that's what he's saying. But what
Okay.
I'm saying is, if we were in a room full of older people, let's say, and we're talking about LGBTQIA+, there's certain things that they're going to say that are just socially wrong. They shouldn't be saying that. That's why we have the laws that say, when you speak to people like this is how you're supposed to behave, right? We come from an ungovernable time where people could just be how they wanted to be to people. And because it's from the past, we think that it's okay, it's tradition, it's culture. Yes, we used to do it often, therefore it became our culture, but it doesn't mean our culture was correct. So the way we're actually evolving is the better way.
Are all laws correct?
It's not about
Tebogo,
laws,
what are you
it's
saying?
about culture.
Sorry, I still want to make my point. So without speaking to Lebo, I'm going to speak generally because hopefully other people understand. There are many people like Lebo out there of both genders. And what happens when they take the stance that she takes is they alienate a lot of other people.
No.
It's his opinion now.
I hear that it's his opinion, but he's positioning me as somebody who alienates people. And I
But you're
literally
alienating
just
me,
said-
okay, me.
No. But you can't
you're not
position me as an alienator. I'm a great communicator, and I just said, for all of us to be able to feel safe to communicate, there's certain things we should know we shouldn't be saying to each other. Because once you do that, saying Lebo keep quiet is not the same as saying Umubi shut up. There's a difference. We need to know how to communicate so we're not alienating people. For me to give you a warning and say, hey, remember the room you're in, just so that when you communicate, we hear you, is very different to me saying, don't speak because you're a man and I don't like your opinion. So I resent that you say I'm alienating. I don't do that. I'm a great communicator. The reason why my brand is so strong, regardless of numbers, is because people feel heard and seen by me, of different races, ages, everything. So I can't be called an alienator.
Well,
that
that's
I
in a
won't
different
allow.
perspective of who you
I won't
are.
allow someone to call me somebody who alienates people.
Okay. Wait. Let
It's fine.
me withdraw that. I'll withdraw. Okay. I think I just want to say that we have different opinions, and people with strong opinions that differ are not helping the conversations. And I think today was an example of that from my side. We can move to the next.
Uthe uzobuya kimi, uthe Lebo, uzosho ipoint.
Sorry.
Yabona le method yalungela ukuthi iyaxeka.
You're alienating me right now. Is what
Hayibo.
you're doing. You're alienating me. Sorry.
Or you're making fun of a situation. You're making light of a situation. Yambona?
It's tricky.
It's the undertones that abelungu do.
Before you speak, sorry, Penson's going to speak. I'd like him to give his opinion, and I'd like us to speak about Floyd. So
Okay.
anyone who's got an opinion on Floyd, leaving the EFF,
So
I'd like you
I've
to
got
share
just
your
2
thoughts.
points. So
Sure.
in terms of the legality or if it should be legal, I don't think people should be talking things that are illegal on people's platforms.
I get you.
You know, however,
Can
if
I
it's
interrogate that?
I'm going to
We won't move on.
defamation.
Like
is
if
what.
you say-
So
Must let it go.
whatever is illegal or we are trying to get it illegal,
Yeah.
you know, because sometimes there's that gray. I agree, they shouldn't say that. But if someone goes onto my space and says Ngimubi, I respect their right to say Ngimubi.
Yes.
You know, obviously nami ngizomngenela, you know, ngendlela yami thizeni, yabona. But I think it needs to stay into the, personally as Penson, I think it's to stay in the realm of respect, but I understand ukuthi that's also person dependent.
Yeah.
But as long as it's not illegal, because I think ukuthi once it becomes that, then you give me, maybe where I differ with Sisi Lona on TikTok is once it gets into that gray area, whatever, then you can post, look at his kids, look at his work, look at his life. But I think with as long as it's just umubi, now umubi, now leave it there. That's where I wanted to say. I agree.
So I didn't catch
point.
that. You're saying people should be allowed to give
I
their
think people
opinions
should
as
express
long as they're
themselves.
not illegal.
I think people
Yeah.
should be fully allowed to express their opinion.
As long as they're not illegal.
As painful
As long
as
as
it
it's
is,
not breaking a
as
law.
long as it's not breaking a law or it's working in that surface, because especially with the LGBT community, there's still laws that are trying to catch up.
Yeah.
But isn't it wrong for companies to fire people for saying things that are not illegal?
Yeah, well,
No,
then
but,
that's
but,
the case.
but what is illegal? Because if you use company policy, there's a code of conduct. And you carry the brand of the company no matter where you go. So once I'm an Investec employee and I'm behaving any kind of way and someone says, oh, look, that Investec person, that looks bad on Investec. That's why there's a code of conduct in all
Yeah, but
organizations.
it becomes grey in terms of just firing me because again, there's a difference between policy, code of conduct, and the law.
Yeah,
But
I'm trying to
remember-
figure out,
remember-
are you saying people cannot, once people are employed by a certain company,
Yeah.
they cannot be free to be themselves, even
No,
if it's
no.
within the law, as long as it violates company
No,
policy?
no.
We're
If-
deviating. I think
But-
maybe she might have used a mansplaining.
No, I'm asking because
apology.
it's important
Yeah.
for me. I'm sorry.
No, the code of conduct thing is important because when you sign it, you are saying, I agree to behave in a certain way when I'm representing this company.
Even if it's legal.
Also, no. So what I'm saying is, let's say I am that bank employee,
Sure.
and then Dominic does his thing,
Sure.
and then they fire me. They can't just fire me.
Sure.
So they have to have found something within the policies
Of the company.
that makes it okay for them to fire you. And remember, when they fire you, it becomes a public thing because you are publicly dragged. So they can't just fire you. They're literally going to find the right reasons to fire you.
Which must be
But you're
legal.
contravening company policy.
Which must be legal. Which must align to the law of the land.
The law of the company. Because if they can fire you, it means you're contravening company policy. It doesn't mean you're contravening South African laws, right?
Yeah.
So they're just saying the way you're behaving is so bad for our brand, and we found it in policy that you're actually contravening one of our standards that you signed, therefore you leave. I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing, I'm just saying that's what happens.
I'll process this offline
know?
because it's something I'm actually sensitive about. Sorry, Penson.
Yeah,
Can I go
and
to
a
the
lot of
second
people
point?
are very sensitive. I've had that conversation before and people were very upset and they said, but we need to be ourselves. And
Sure.
it's like, but who you are, at the same time, you need to be conscious of the environments you're in. So when Penson was making the examples Penson was making, I thought about boundaries. I thought about standards, right? If you go to the Saxon, you're going to behave a very different way to if you're going to a tavern, right? There is a way to behave. So Luana, as a person, you decide, who am I? How do I allow people to engage with me? Maybe on some people's platforms, it's okay for people to be vile and to use negative expressions. But for some people, they could say, that soils my space. I can't have that. It's even bad for how I want to show up. It doesn't work for me. Maya Angelou used to say, words are things. And when they are said in rooms, they stick on the wall. And I believe that. So if you allow anything just around you, you become those things. I think it's a personal hygiene thing to be aware of what you're saying all the time. Not because you are, limiting your expression, but you need to find better ways to say what you want to say.
Sure. Penson, second point.
Yeah, I want to get to a point where how I
Actually-
behave at Saxon and how I behave at Tavern is exactly the same. Because I think Maya Angelou in both spaces would be her.
It's not a...
I hear you. I'm just saying I want to get to that point in my own journey. You spoke about vulnerability and oversharing and the hangover. I want to get to the point where in certain spaces I continue being me and the space doesn't change my behavior.
Do you think the law and companies are oppressive to people being themselves?
Yes.
No, well, look, obviously we're talking contracts and the layers and the HR, but at its, give me, it's a willing buyer, willing seller, so you came in.
Do you really think it's willing buyer, willing seller?
No, obviously that's what I'm saying with HR, the manipulation
Sure,
of how
sure.
the system is, blah, 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 blah. But at its core, I believe, Gutsi, you agreed. You agreed that when you come to this school, you're going to wear this uniform.
Yeah.
Did we agree to the constitution of this country when we were born?
No, well, you born into it, so you must go fight it and
Fuck
change
me.
it.
Please carry
So-
on, sir. My apologies.
Anyway, so you brought up violence earlier, and you said there's no space, and human beings are smarter than
Oh, snap.
I
That point.
totally disagree with that. Totally. I think the worst thing to ever happen to this earth is human beings. We are the most violent creature ever. Ever. We spoke about Carl Jung. Carl Jung says, if you don't study this mind of a human being, this human being will create bombs to kill all of us. If there was aliens would never come because we killed them as well. So when it comes to violence, I would like as a North Star that we get to a point where we are mature enough to have conversations, But in certain cases, people did come with knives. It's written in a statement where if it wasn't defamation, open a case. And then violence, carried on in whatever way. So give me...
to the case being, Baba, because I mean, women can open what,
No, she must open. She must definitely defend herself. She must definitely defend. What I'm trying to say is, I believe that ideally we have these conversations, but I know with me, I know with him, I know with our kids, violence is the twin of us having these conversations. So that we can be civil. The reason why Russia, America, China, the most powerful countries also possess the ability to be the most violent countries. So as much as they are strong economically and shape our thinking, the Western narrative, the books we read, whatever the case, the media we consume, they also possess the ability to be the most violent at the same time. So I look at it like that, Uguti. We ought to have these conversations and dialogue and whatnot, but worst case, and it almost seems like there's a sazwan and now everybody's crossing each other's boundaries.
The reasoning has gone out the window.
Then I'm folding. Because first thing,
before you answer, Ash, I'd like to say
the moment and I think amongst men, maybe I'm just projecting, I'm talking, one of the reasons why a lot of men in certain spaces is because a lot of men understand if violence is just here around the corner.
So you're saying that there's room for violence?
Yes.
I want to say this, Ursh, because you made this example of children. The reasoning. Your example was the reason we hit children is because
hit was such a, I even tried to make a
can't
slap
use
on
it.
the wrist.
Use the word spank.
Yeah. Slap on
sure.
the wrist,
And look,
yeah.
the spank
I
is
don't want-
it's for effect, right? It's because it works.
Does it?
I'm
Does
asking
it?
in your example, 3-year-old, you've been shouting at them. You exercise a form of physical pain because the reasoning is not.
Okay.
I'm asking that. I'm just getting clarity before I give my point. That was your example.
Yes.
Yes.
That was my example.
Sure.
Yes.
So you spoke about human beings being intelligent, and I'd like to think it's proven that we're really not. And just like children, I think a lot of grown-ups struggle with that reasoning. And unfortunately, a little spank on the wrist doesn't work. And some of us, through experience, we understand that, you try to reason. I think Tupac spoke about the Black Panthers because he was born in jail. You think of the ANC government. They started with reasoning. Come on, guys, let's be reasonable. White people, let's share.
The Middle
It
East.
got to a point where you're like, but there's no reasoning here. And you can try and spank people on the wrist. And Ngamla, don't speak that language. So you get to a point where you're like, I think the only language this child that doesn't reason well will understand is extreme violence. And that's what Mkhonto sees or
Guys, right
set
now
up.
we're talking about GBV.
Sure.
And we're talking
It's
about...
it's a great reference.
No, it's a great reference.
Yeah, keep going.
Keep going extreme.
Yeah.
So you were talking about a 2-year-old.
Yeah, so this conversation was general violence.
Yes.
Right? But right now we're talking about GBV.
But hear me out.
In the space where I don't believe you're saying this. But if I'm to translate the example to a domestic relationship, you're saying that one can get to a place where as a man you feel this child, being your wife or girlfriend, is not listening.
Yes.
And I need to spank them.
Sure. And that's what we need to correct. So on the flip side, a woman's like, I tried to call you 75 times. I was being reasonable. You are not picking up. I don't know now. I can't spank you. And clearly the only way you will listen is if I pick up a knife. And it's not right. And then we have to speak about how do we, this is the conversation, because at least the story we have is with Mihlali picking up a knife. We now have to speak to a guy, because there's a story that came out in the news of a woman, I don't know if she's a police officer or a traffic cop, and her husband is a police officer or a traffic cop. She shot this guy. He died. And then she took her life. So you almost need to speak to a person to be like, before you got to that point, how can we help you? But he wasn't listening and he was busy with girls. You're like, okay, you feel he wasn't being reasonable, but the way you acted is not best. So how do we increase maybe both your intelligences? How do we educate you guys so that you become these smart humans that don't need to get to violence? And if not, can other people from the outside assist? That's where you have sanctions. Can the UN come in? Because clearly white people don't want to share. And the black people have said, but guys, help us. And then unfortunately where the law is letting you down, which is probably another reason why you have domestic violence, where the woman's gotten a protection order, where the woman has tried, where the woman has informed her family. This guy is still, that's when you'll find out Mchita is gone. And it's like, but guys, this lady's been saying Guti, and you guys are not listening. And I think to close off on Penson's point of a need for violence, there are people that are just, you can wish all you want, that are unreasonable. Let's call them like criminals, serial killers, whatever. you unfortunately can't rationalize with those people. And if we take away good people, smart people, if we take away our ability to counter them, we will always be vulnerable to be taken out.
I think you're making some great points. However,
Let's take a pause there.
No.
Highlight, underline.
Can I just add that I think more people are cases for rehabilitation than we are making it seem. So I just think we don't have the language and the skills to know how to interact with people who are much harder to interact with. But I think that there's cases where it's like you're just beyond saving a very small group of people. I think the rest just come from really bad environments where nobody has the tools to engage with them and engage with each other where they can find a solution. You know, I've been in so many black environments with black people where kids are taking drugs and whatever, and they'll say, we've tried everything. This one, you can't do anything with him. He's a lost case. Then you find that person going to a center where somebody gets him and he just changes into a completely different person, and you're like, where was this person all along? They couldn't be there because the environment they were in didn't allow them to be that person, right? That's why it's a privilege to live in the suburbs or go to private schools, because you get to be more of a softer version of yourself than you would be if you were growing up in harsher environments.
Sure.
So we have to also acknowledge that environment plays a big role in how we behave and our ability to self-control and self-regulate and be the softer versions of ourselves.
I had a conversation with a radio personality. I don't know if they're still on radio, but we were speaking about the black issues that we have in this country. And in the conversation, we were speaking about what black people deserve and what they don't. Because I went to go and visit Garrett Cliff recently, and I said something like, black people deserve the situation they have. And Garrett Cliff didn't comment. And I know offline he was like, bro, I'm a white guy. I can't comment on these things. I'm like, sure. But with this person that I spoke to, one of the conversations was, hey, bro, I listened to that thing and I was like, you're right. But I wanted to highlight, and this is what they were highlighting. Number one, there are things people don't deserve. You're born without arms. You get into an accident and you're now disabled. You don't deserve that, assuming that you weren't the cause of those things. But where you have to make a decision, let me go buy from a black-owned business. Let me invest this marketing budget into black townships. And then you don't do that. And then you're like, my family's struggling, but you're a black kid in a marketing agency who's aggressively refusing because you're like, but the LSMs and the data. That now, your family deserves that because of the decisions. And what this person said, which I'm linking to what Lebo was saying about environment, they said we don't speak enough about, especially black people, health, nutrition, environment, etc. And it's been over the years, you almost inherit a computer box that has been coming from harsh environments. And they said, because we're not fixing that, it doesn't matter what good software you try to upload, you send him to the school and that, as long as the hardware is broken, you won't be able to upload this thing on this child. And then you'll keep wondering, but we took this child out of Ekas and private school. Why are they still doing drugs and stabbing other kids? You're like, there's something else that you need to do to fix. You're worried about these things. You can't upload. You can, if the phone is half broken, and you can download all the apps. This is screen a span. And you're not fixing some of those things, and I think that's important.
So you're speaking to
Absolutely.
genetics.
But who's responsible for
touch
the
on
hardware?
genetics as well.
What is the hardware?
Hey, is that for me to
That's why
answer?
I'm
We don't have
asking,
much
when you
time.
say
man.
hardware, are you speaking to genetics? What are you speaking to when you speak about hardware?
We're speaking surface level and deeper. To be fully honest, I'll share this because I think this is important for me. We focus too much on plastering problems instead of getting to the root cause. And people say it all the time, the psychological impacts of apartheid and colonization. But the reality is there is no deep investment, at least on the African continent, of fixing the mindset of oppression. Like, we can keep you ekasi, we can keep you wherever, but we're fixing your mind so that you wake up ekasi, you're like, I just want to pick up litter. And you're like, why? It's because I've been working on the mind. Because you guys are just taking me from here to there, and then you're not understanding why this thing's falling apart, why the government is corrupt, why people are looting. It's like, because you guys didn't do the actual work that needs to be done. For example, this kid, we've tried everything. Some shaya, some tengeli bicycle. Someone in that rehab center, for whatever reason, sat with the child, did something that maybe the others had never done before, which is listen. Just speak. No, I have not. No, just, we're here. You're like, but no one's ever listened to me before, number one. And then, what do you think the problem is? Just tell us. And then it takes work, and it could take generational work to be like, let's just Yeah,
So
you
the
guys
soft-
talk.
so
You
the
guys talk.
software is broken. The software is
The software is broken. And I'm saying, and we're not saying we're going to fix it. This is where you ask about genetics. Because you may find over 3-4 generations, it's been a mess. But are we like, look, my father had 50 kids and he didn't provide. And you're like, look, I've got 20 kids. I'm half providing. I'm trying because I'm aware now. And someone has pointed it out. So I'm saying to my son who's already got 3 kids, hey, Bafo, please understand where we come from and why you weren't born in a mansion. So we're hoping you can do a bit better than us. But not only move to the suburbs, but
Your mind.
do the therapies and, try and be in a healthy relationship. Yeah, my girlfriend hit me. Ish, you're reminding us of where we come from. And try and fix the software, because some of the things that we uppity blacks do, we go into traditional black spaces and we judge. Because for whatever reason, our minds, or someone's worked on, or our parents moved us to a place where the environment. So when we go back, we're looking like, but why would you throw a can out of a window? Mm-hmm. But you're asking someone who's not even conscious of that. But why wouldn't you, like that reasoning thing? But come on, guys, no one would. And you're like, ish, people would. That thing Ule was saying now with the alienation, Uguti, she might be like, but some things are unacceptable. I'm like, I hear you, but I'm trying to explain. Konabantu that don't process like that. And we have to be sensitive to them so that we don't lose them.
But also, we need to shock the system if we're doing it the right way. So
this point here, sorry, you want to say it is very controversial.
I know, but we do need to shock the system, because how are you exposed if you're not exposed? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, if we never see women, like a Dineo Ranaka, for example, you don't see women expressing themselves in that way, then it becomes a thing of, when she is in public spaces, people will beat her and be violent because it's unacceptable. Women don't do that. Yeah. But the more you have women actually showing, no, this is fine. This is normal. This is how it is. It shocks those people and eventually starts to get them to go, maybe I need to start seeing the world differently, or maybe I can open myself up to knowing this exists.
Sure.
Doesn't mean they'll change how they do things, but I really think that starts the change.
So then we should, based on that, let's say Dineo is a negative behavior. Let's assume that.
Yeah.
Throwing a can out of a moving taxi is also a negative behavior.
Yeah, then
why do we accept, assuming, I'm not saying she is,
that
negative
assumption.
behavior? No, I'm saying, Muti, you are saying, Muti, Dineo, if she moved like this in uneducated spaces, they might beat her or whatever.
No,
Meaning, Muti, that behavior would be seen as a negative behavior. And as a result, if they say violence. And I'm saying, Muti, we go Elokshin and see people throw things out the window, and we assume that's a negative behavior, right? So you are saying, Uti, people should be exposed more to that, Utineo, to shock them.
Can I come in and try and assist?
I'm saying they should be exposed to the thing that is better for the environment. So,
is Utineo's behavior better for the environment?
Yes, it is.
Hey, wait, I get sad when you guys focus on an example instead of the point.
He's focusing on the example.
Sorry, so I think remove Dineo and let's speak about an outspoken woman.
We can.
Wait.
Outspoken woman.
The thing about it is, it shouldn't matter whose name I'm putting out there.
No, we say outspoken woman.
What she represents is a woman who says things that people don't expect women to say.
Sure.
And we need to be okay with the women expressing themselves in society. The fact that I sat on this podcast and I said, I will not allow you to make me somebody who alienates people. That's going to make a lot of people angry.
And it's going to alienate them.
And they're going to feel alienated.
Yes.
Right? And they're going to do that because they haven't seen that kind of expression happening before.
No, we have.
But no. So
wait. Please allow her. Please allow her. That's not the point she's making.
No. A lot of people
She's not saying Dineo is the only woman on earth who's like her. She's just saying it's not common.
It's not common.
Yeah,
that's why there's so much backlash. The more common something is, the less backlash there is with it. So even in those, let's say, poorer environments where people just throw things out the windows and whatever, that one house that's clean where everything looks nice changes people's perspectives. It shocks them because they're like, whoa, this is possible here? We didn't know. Will it make them clean their houses? Maybe not. But maybe the child of that person will go, but my neighbor on that street had that nice house. When I go to varsity, I'm going to try build a house like that. So you need to start planting the seeds now. All we're saying is
but where I'm
all of these
disagreeing with you
behaviors
is that you are sitting in a position of authority in the sense of you're saying this is good, this is bad.
No, I'm just saying that if we want to change how society moves, then we need to sometimes shock people out of their limited perspectives so that they can see a different way of doing
by
things.
seeing Sister X who's vocal, which might be different from what they're used to, and seeing a clean house, which might be different from the... But in saying that, there's a positive and a negative in both of that. You said an aspiration to have a clean house when I'm out of varsity as a positive, is what I'm trying to say.
Is the dirty house a positive?
No. Is it, to some men, having a woman onjenga Mosisi X, that's not a positive.
I'd like to raise a point. Sorry, I'd like to raise a point. We're
understand
running.
what I'm trying to say?
Please listen. We're running out of time. So whatever you're saying, please try and keep it as short as possible.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're gonna have to cut you off.
So
just be
I was
cognizant.
just saying, Mutsi, to some people, men and women alike, actually. No, let me
So I think rather make your
isolate.
point instead of asking a question.
My point is that woman or expressive kanjalo, to many people, she's seen as rude, ukwata, whatever the case is, and to them, they see that as throwing the can out of the moving car. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Ursula, you wanted to say something? Please don't ask questions. Just make points.
No, I'm not asking a question.
No problem.
So I think highlighting the whole idea that a woman that speaks out is a negative to some people is the connotation that Sister X represents, like, you know. So at some point, you're right. We need to decide what's right and what's wrong, right? So there are people, with the example of the clean and the dirty house, there are people that look at a dirty house and they think it's okay. And so we're sitting here where a docile woman is okay, is the standard, is the preferred.
A well-behaved Kaffir, as an example.
Yes.
This is a rebellious one.
Yes. And so we're speaking towards jumping out of that, right? And you're saying, hey, man, look at the clean house.
Yes.
So it's a difficult example
to compare.
I think Peño's example to say Kaffir maybe makes it more relatable to you.
It's not, because you use the word docile female. And the word docile is very, very descriptive adjective.
Yes.
And that's not what I was saying. I was using Sister X as outside, an extreme outside of what we grew up seeing Mametu. Understand, Mametu, we're not talking about weak ladies that, Mametu in Bogoto that we saw
what
as
is
kids.
Mbogoto?
You know, it's a strong woman. It's a woman who understands when to be loud and when not to be loud, depending on the space, as someone had said. You know, so Uya's Wuti, I behave like this.
She knows how to behave.
Like even men. We were told to manage and to be mindful of words. Speaking to, knowing how to behave, when to behave. It's a room full of men and there's maybe a sister there. I should be able to know how to behave because Kono Sisi, versus if she's not.
No.
Okay, but just,
sorry, I just want you guys to know. I
So
think
we
we've got
can't
10 minutes.
contradict ourselves.
I hear you, but
when we
think
saying
of the
these
direct
things.
example. Your brother made a really good example.
No.
So imagine
he made a perfect example.
Yeah, imagine right now you're a white man and you're
Wait,
saying
let her finish.
you
Let her
must
say
know as a
something.
black person
That's perfect
how
example.
to behave.
And I'm saying, Wuti, who put us? And it's that white person is in a position of power. He made a perfect example. He's in a position of power to determine between being a good black and a bad black. He's in a position of power. We are in positions of power to determine right. That comes from a position of power. So I'm saying, Wuti, to some people in their position of power, bona lo sisi uyi negative and lo sisi uyi positive. But it's in a overrider bona nama opinion.
Please don't debate him. I think the points have been made. We don't have time.
But we need to just close it off because what he's saying is he's making it seem like a good or a bad thing.
You can also share your closing point on this. Please, no one else is going to be allowed to respond to her.
Okay.
So you can make your point.
We're saying the norm is the status quo.
Yeah.
So when you're shocking people, you're showing them something that's outside of the status quo to give them the opportunity to see the world differently. We're not saying they have to, but we're saying exposing people allows more diversity to happen. It allows more expression to happen. When you like to be docile, you're doing it because you want to, not because it's expected in the status quo. But if we use the status quo the way Penson is, it's oppressive. That's why people can't be who they want to be, because they feel unacceptable doing that. So when you shock people and you say there are other ways to do things, you can choose. You don't have to be one thing. You can be whatever you want.
Why would you say?
Wait, no.
You have to show.
Nope.
You have to show. That's what we mean by shocking. Showing an alternative so people know that they've got options.
Thank you. Asbo, sorry. Any closing remarks? Booked by Bo. We're going to drop in the description if you guys want talent management and influencer management. Asbo, any closing remarks just in general?
Oh no! This conversation was too grown for me. I didn't feel grown enough for it. But I'd learned a lot. I think that it's important to have these conversations, although people have strong and different opinions. I mean, everyone's going to relate to something that someone said, different personalities. And maybe I should have said it earlier, but I don't think that people are fully trying to police this space, but more like just to have an awareness of the things that are said. But you should be able to fully speak and say the things you want to say, even if it's controversial, because there are other shared thoughts out there. But
thank you,
that's
Asbo.
me.
Gomotso, anything?
Thank you.
Nah.
Happiness. Tebogo, anything? Still not feeling safe?
I'm good.
Are you safe?
He's crying.
Are you safe?
You don't expect safety, ne?
Are you safe?
You don't expect it anymore.
I want to be safe after we cut. I'll be safe after that.
Sizwe, you good? Thank you very much, bro. Look, shout out to Sizwe Dube. Hopefully he'll join us like in future episodes. But he did say that somewhere. So makhona usisi out there was uthambisa izinto ezibhlungu.
Hey.
No, Sizwe.
Gotta go.
Sizwe, no?
Gotta go.
What does
No,
that mean?
okay, no.
What does that mean?
No.
Multi-conusisi somewhere. What do you mean by that?
Ursula, any closing words?
Closing words on this topic specifically.
Anything.
Must I have any
Anything.
topic?
This is your last chance.
Subscribe to the Conversation Capital. Let's just
Yeah, guys, please check out the Conversation Capital with Ursula Mariani, her team, Ubonga, and Kevin. as well.
Love it.
And then, I feel that it's unfortunate that you didn't feel safe enough to speak and share your opinion when it was said, okay, tread lightly, and there are younger people watching you. And I think I'm going to go home and sit with that as to like how can we translate to people that without saying don't talk. So yeah, it was
Thank you.
perfect.
Do you guys want to ching chong chow and who's going to speak first?
Oh, you said that she was
go.
closing.
No, you do your thing.
No ching chong chow?
Man,
Nah.
We're going round this way anyways.
No, call observation. Call observation.
Oh my Lord.
That we need
You
to-
do know we don't have time, so this could be your closing.
It is
It's up to you.
closing.
Hi, okay.
I'll have time.
So khuluma offline because ngifuna ukungena yena.
Oh,
Penson has to be somewhere in 4 minutes.
Hashtag no Didi.
Ngena yena. Because nginenkinga nalo.
Hashtag-
and ngizoyitshengisa. And ngizoshaya ama point. Ngithi bheka la. Angisho ekitchen. Kwapostwa le video. Qala mina. So
How
what
am I
I
supposed to
appreciate
feel
is-
safe now?
Awungabi safe wena.
How am I supposed to feel
Wena
safe?
ngizoku-alienate wena. Yabona wena ekitchen.
Elevator.
Wena ngizoku-alienate.
Elevators.
Wena lo. Awena.
Elevators.
Alo. Awufane ekitchen. Imnawe futhi. Angifuni umuntu oyokhuluma. Checka uhlina kanjani.
Mamsi, uTobi uyangithreatenisha.
Yabona ngiceba futhi. Yabona ngiceba futhi.
Makhona ukutshekile mama ngicela.
Let me close. I think what I appreciate the most, and Sis Lebo, I hope you take this in the spirit that I'm trying to say it, is how different your opinions are to mine. And sometimes you find yourself in these, what's it called?
Echo chambers.
Echo
chambers.
Echo.
Yeah.
Wafunda bwena isingisi kushaya.
What did she say? What did she say?
Echo.
What did I say?
Echo.
Do you know what I got for English in matric?
Oh, yeah, see, you got a drink. 1992.
Honestly speaking, you said echo chamber.
Oh, you
He said echo.
I'm
He said echo.
a
He said echo
I'm a thought leader.
Man.
Ursula, Bluetooth high five. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for making me. Thank you for making me safe and feel seen. I appreciate it. Fuck patriarchy and toxic masculinity. Futhi angingisabi ngifana noDini Oranaka.
Imbokodo kweleyo, imbokodo leyo. So it's, you find yourself in these spaces where sonke siyavuma into eyi-one, you know, and even if singavuma into eyi-one, we're not too far out in certain things. We might just change in terms of the sports team that you support. So now when you in a space with someone who in so many viewpoints is very different to you, it makes you go reflect, because that's what I will be doing. You know,
That's the shock in the system.
That's the shock in the system.
Yeah.
And here's the other parts of the shock in the system with my reflection. It's either I'll agree or I'll double down.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, one.
100%.
It's very good on my phone. Also,
Let's take it easy. Let's take it easy.
No, I might.
Let's take it easy.
So I'm saying
my God.
it's great in that introspection, because I've also got so many blind spots, you know, so
A lot.
There's so many.
Yes, I need to carry on.
And it was great because I had a chance to be with OCC abakwazi ukungibonisa life through lens yabo, which in certain points were very, very different to me. So I truly appreciate Leo to Leo.
Thank you.
But I'm going to double down now.
Oh,
My
God,
God.
you're not going to reflect.
You gotta
Again.
go reflect.
I'm reflecting.
Yes.
I think I'm reflect.
It toxic patriarch. Why do you know this, Amashel?
Aye.
Toxic. Those are the women that are shocked to the system.
Yeah.
Sorry. Before Lebo closes, I just want to say, you know, the first time I was going to sit with Lebo on Amped, the guys at Amped, Slim, Sia, I think Umbali, were like, would you sit with Lebo Lion? I'm like, sure. They were like, yo, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I mean, yo, Ben's right. No, we need to see this one. When she came, shame. One-on-one, and because in Chamana, Bugu Eshla, my smile, Bugu Eshla, Bugu.
Hi, bo.
So Lebo came through when we chatted, and it was cordial and it was nice. I think what happened today is what the gents wanted to see, and it came.
Yes.
So thank you for bringing what I think they wanted to see to the platform. Huh?
The M gents.
The M gents. They were like, hey, Lebo Lion. Sorry, Lebo. Closing comments.
I just want to thank everybody for this conversation. You have a very influential platform, and men listen to what you have to say.
And women.
Oh, Lord have mercy. And I'm not saying this to give you an ego or anything. You built something really good. And it's important that men who have platforms like yours bring in women and show men how to engage with women in debate and in conversation. You know, the mark of a very intelligent person, a person who can take over the world, is a person who knows how to communicate. And I think these kinds of platforms are teaching people how to communicate. So we'll all be able to build a better world because we actually know how to engage with one another, even if we don't agree. So for me, I'm just happy to be here. I think this is a great opportunity for people to like see the world differently. And I'm hoping it's going to encourage them to continue to go into more different spaces and just like open their minds to anything that is different to what they know.
Thank you. Did you feel safe today? Did you feel seen? Are you going to visit us again?
Nah, I'm always in the trenches. I'm always in the jungle. Like I feel.
No, but this is a
okay.
genuine question. Did you feel safe today? Did you feel safe to express yourself?
I did.
Fully?
I did. I
Okay.
did. I think there were times when I was a bit afraid to be myself because of my past experiences being, you know, but otherwise I felt good.
Dope.
Yeah.
Thank you. Nothing else. Can shut it down. Dope conversation. See you guys next week. We're out.